one. Well, there we go. Check one. Hey. All right. Sure, levels are good. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Pugs Moran. This is the live rant for today, February the 10th, year of our Lord 2026. I can't believe I didn't just double clutch on the year. I double clutched on the century there. I was like 20. That doesn't sound right. I'm from the 1900s. My son, whenever he wants to truly humiliate me, that's what he says. He'll say that to me. So, well, you were born back in the 1900s. Do you know how bad that sounds? Like coming from a young kid. Well, you were born back in the 1900s. I'm like, oh, shut up, dude. That just sounds bad. Doesn't mean anything. We're still pretty close to the turn of the century. Welcome into the Rant, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on the beautiful south side of Chicago. We do this every day. It's talk radio for normal people, not the 15% on the right that are gone and screw them. They're never coming back. We got 15% on the left. They're the same way. It's us, the 70%. We gather here every day round about this time to chop up the day's news, the hot stories, all of the things that are happening. Sometimes we get into heavy news. Sometimes we get into lighter stuff, whatever. It's just whatever normal people are talking about. This is a show for normal people. Unfortunately, a great subject for us normal people has been the behavior of the abnormal people. We're going to get into that today. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get to. We're going to do the Savannah Guthrie stuff. There's breaking news right now in the Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie family, Tucson, Arizona situation. We're going to get to that real quick. We're also going to have Maddie on. We're going to break down the Super Bowl with Maddie. We're going to talk about, Bad Bunny and Kid Rock and all of that nonsense. We should have done it yesterday, but I forgot. I had a previously scheduled thing that I didn't tell you about on Friday, and I feel bad for that, but I got it taken care of, and we're also going to miss tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow is also a show. Just let me take care of these things. Just let me get these things out of the way, and we'll be fine. But I have a thing tomorrow as well. So today's a show, Thursday's a show, and Friday's a show. I do apologize for that. We got all kinds of nutty stuff going on. Trust me, if it's happening in the world, we're going to talk about it. We got Olympics we got to talk about. Is anybody watching the Olympics? I'm watching a little. Peter's in the chat room right now talking about the Olympics. All right, I got to be honest. Do you see what's going on here? Do you see how the chat room is now like on our screen? Do you see this over here? What the fuck is that? That's new. See, Restream just doing shit that's new, and now I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't need it there. I've got it over here. Okay. All right. Whatever. Restream, the platform that we use for this, they're always doing new things. They're always just throwing new things. I've got to adapt to it. So whatever, I guess that's a thing now. Peter's watching curling over there. Enjoy that. I'll give you my full take on the Olympics. I've got some very well thought out takes on what we've been seeing the last couple of days. So we'll do that. We'll do Olympics. We'll talk a little about the Super Bowl, not necessarily the football stuff, but more from the cultural impact that the Super Bowl has. As I said, we're going to talk to Maddie, a whole bunch of stuff. All right. So first and foremost, let's get right into it, okay? Because we do have some breaking news in the Savannah Guthrie story. I was going to start the show off with Savannah Guthrie anyway, because this is the story that I've become obsessed with, because I don't know how closely you're following what's happening there in Tucson, Arizona. There are a whole lot of stuff that doesn't make much sense here. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Things seem to be contradicting. Today, right now, as we start the show here at noon, we've got major breaking news. The FBI has released a photograph, which we're like 12 days in, right? How many days in is this now? We're coming up on 2 weeks. On Saturday, it'll be 2 weeks since Nancy Guthrie, the mother of the Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, was kidnapped from her home there in Tucson, Arizona, after being dropped off by who? I'm not even sure who dropped her off. Was it Tommaso? Jesus, I know so much about the Guthrie family. Was it Tommaso? Tommaso. I'm looking at Tommaso. I'm not saying anything about Tommaso. I'm just saying there's a lot of smoke coming off Tommaso. You know what they say about smoke. I don't don't know. I'm just like you. I'm just watching all of this stuff develop. So the FBI, just a couple of minutes ago, they released a couple of pictures. I think we got 4 pictures here from a Nest cam. Nest. It's not the same thing as what's the other one? What's a Ring and Nest, right? Everything's got to have a Pepsi. Every Coke's got to have a Pepsi. Every McDonald's got to have a Burger King. It's so these are Nest cameras. These are not the Ring cameras. Here, these are the pictures just released by the FBI. There we go. Oh, how creepy is this, right? Could it be any creepier? So this is apparently the front porch of Savannah Guthrie's mother's house. I mean, this pretty much, okay, so just this picture alone helps us a lot. If we've been watching this thing, and if you've been paying a close attention to it, as I have, there have been moments where you've been like, wait a second, is this even a kidnapping? I mean, there's just like so many strange things that, cannot be explained. We see this image here. It's a kidnapping. This is obviously something nefarious, something sinister, something incredibly freaky. This was taken by the Nest camera, which, by the way, because American capitalism, I love to point out how amazing American capitalism is. So the doorbell cameras, whether it's a Nest or a Ring, they videotape everything that happens, and then they send it up to the cloud, and they keep it forever in case you need it. Unless you don't pay the upcharge. If you don't pay the upcharge, then they're like, fuck you, get kidnapped in the middle of the night. See if we care. Yeah, come on, man. Are you kidding me? That was the response when they were like, well, don't we have any video or whatever from the Ring doorbells? And they're in Ring or Nest. I'm sorry, I guess it's Nest. Nest is like, yeah, well, they don't pay for that feature, so they don't have it. So now what? Apparently they do have it? So you do have it. You just hold it back because you're trying to gouge people because American capitalism. Gouge. You're going to want to pay the $20 up fee every month because what if your grandma is kidnapped in the middle of the night, huh? Live and learn. Guthrie's with a canary in the coal. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. They shouldn't be like, well, they didn't pay the subscription because that was a problem in the early days. They were like, why don't we have any tape of this? Well, they didn't pay the upcharge for the subscription. Oh, and now suddenly they got it? Now suddenly they do have some. Well, we do keep something. Well, give it to that. Give us that in the first 48 hours, you bastards. Well, we don't need people to know. Jesus. It just seems so bullshit. Anyway, here you go. This is the recovered still from the Nest camera before this individual is believed to have disabled it. And there he is, disabling the Nest camera. This again, we're looking at pictures released just minutes ago by the FBI. These are, well, we're told, these are from, and again, I got to say we're told, because this FBI, this is Kash Patel releasing this stuff. We're told this is, of course, Nancy Guthrie's front porch, Saturday night when she was abducted. What's going on here with the eyes? Trying to figure out, is this a white guy, a black guy? What can you tell? Can you tell it's black and white? I don't know if you can tell. Could be one of them light-skinned blacks. Could be a white guy. I don't know. Why does that matter? Well, it does matter. You're just being racist. No. If it's a black guy, then I think we can eliminate Tommaso, the son-in-law, as a sub. That's all. We're just trying to put this fucking thing together. I don't give a shit what color the person is. They're obviously not Asian, though. Asian. We'd have been able to see that. All right, there's one more pic, I think. There's this one. Look at him. What's up with? I'm looking for any kind of clue possible. Like, what kind of tracksuit is this? Is this? I don't know what kind of branded tracksuit that is. Also, they're saying he was armed. Can we see him armed in this picture? Is this a gun right here? Is he wearing it like over his dick? Is this a place that gun dudes wear a holster? This kind of looks like a gun, right? This kind of looks like a holster right here. All right, there he is. All right, so if any of you recognize him, I don't know what we're supposed to do with that. All right, but it is creepy, and it does answer at least one question, and that question is, this appears to be a legitimate... Oh, now CNN's got actual... Oh, they've released moving video of this? They aren't just stills. I'm right now watching on CNN The airplane. Let's see if we can find the moving, actual motion video of this. All right, Nancy Guthrie. CNN's playing actual video. I thought that they just released stills, but apparently there is actual video that CNN is using. Yeah, no, we don't have it. we don't have the actual video, or do we? Hold on, maybe. Nope. Yeah, we do. Okay, very good. Let's watch this. Here we go. Here's some actual moving video. Also just released by the FBI. We just saw the stills. There we go. Okay. No sound. He's removing the backpack. So is it just one guy? Is it, I guess, well, this is just one guy. But I don't even know what they're thinking. Like, are they thinking this is a conspiracy? Can one dude do this on his own? Does he need to, like, rope in some friends? Or what level of expertise are these kidnappers? Because I can't tell. You will listen to some coverage of this and they'll be like, well, they are obviously high level with tech and all that. And then you hear other people going, well, I think this might just be some guys who made it up around their kitchen table. What's he doing? How long is this video? Oh, okay. So it's 26 seconds. Let's start it right here at 26 seconds. Here you go. He walks in. Good Lord. She's sleeping. This is why you need a dog. This is why you need a big fucking dog, man. This is why I believe in big dogs. Big dogs. Because right now you got a big dog. That dog is going nuts at the door. You're waking up. This guy's running. Big dogs, man. Not the little yippy ones. I know they're cute. And I know you think about a big dog and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can handle a big dog. Well, you know what? The burglar is thinking the same thing. So get the big dog. All right, there you go. This is also freaky. This whole Savannah Guthrie thing. First of all, can I just say, and I don't mean this. I don't mean this glibly, or it's just a reality. I was thinking, how is this going to affect Savannah Guthrie the rest of her life? I mean, obviously, her mother being it depends on how it turns out, right? I mean, we get her back safe and it's all very celebratory and she's been through a traumatic experience. It's still a terrible thing that any family has to go through, but the best case scenario has been reached. Mama is back. Then, of course, there's the other side. What happens if her mother is dead, right? The worst case scenario, imagine that turns up. Body is found in the desert, right? What does that do? Like, what is next for Savannah Guthrie? Because Savannah Guthrie, if you remember in the beginning of this whole thing, I was like, this is so interesting because it's so oddly random. Savannah Guthrie isn't an A-list star. She's a celebrity. There's a lot of celebrities that are in her, airspace. But quite frankly, 3 weeks ago, if I stopped you on the street and said, name the two hosts of the Today Show, would you have been able to say Jane Pauley and Brian Gumbel the way you would have 40, 50 years ago? Probably not, because it's a different kind of environment now. So she is high profile and she is a very big star at NBC, but I'm just wondering how big a star does NBC make these days? She's not like, I'm trying to think of somebody else that's, point is this. She's a mid-level celebrity in America. What is this going to do to her career? Is she going to be able to continue? Are we going to be able to look at her? I'll give you an example. I watched the Olympics opening ceremonies. Savannah Guthrie was supposed to be the host of the opening ceremonies. Instead, it was Mary Carrillo, who's great. She's great. She's an old pro. She's done this for years and years, and she was great. But I'm watching the opening ceremonies, and when they introduced Mary Carrillo, I immediately got sad. Because seeing Mary Carrillo reminded me almost instantly that there's something terrible happening to Savannah Guthrie, and she seems like a wonderful person. She doesn't seem like somebody you wish ill on. Well, I mean, I guess unless you're a weird MAGA person, then, she's part of the media, so she's obviously evil. Looking at Mary Carrillo, I'm like, oh, geez, this is sad. Is Savannah Guthrie, is this going to make her Oprah? Like, is this going to, like, what is next for her? And we don't even know how this is going to turn out. I'm sure she's not thinking about this. I'm sure she's, but I mean, if this ends terribly, and again, I don't mean to be glib about this. I'm just, she is a person who we all feel good about. The reason she's got her job is because she's got that smile. Savannah Guthrie has a smile that just lights up a room. She is so clean and fresh and nice and sweet. Everything about Savannah Guthrie and why she's a success. Well, first of all, she's incredibly capable. She's very smart. I did a deep dive into her like background and her biography and her Wikipedia page and all that shit. This chick is a genius. She is like super smart. She's a lawyer. She's a journalist. She jumped around the country. Anyway, she is an impressive woman. And my thing is, are we going to be able to look at her like on TV? Like, go 3 years from now. 3 years from now, this is all settled. I mean, what is her career going to be? Is this going to be good or is this going to be bad for? I don't know. I mean, I hope she's okay as a human being, but I'm thinking of her now as a media commodity. And what does this mean now? Because she was somebody who was a famous media celebrity, not an A-list superstar. She was Savannah Guthrie. And now she's much more famous than she ever was before. I mean, everybody knows that she is probably. All right, are we back? Let me know in the chat room if everything is back to normal, because we just had one of those surges where everything went nuts for a minute. All right, so back to the Savannah Guthrie thing. I mean, I just wonder like what her rebound is going to be. Is she gonna like? I'm just sad. It's just such a sad and frightening story. That's what it is. So now I'm projecting. Every time I see her, I feel sad. I feel sad. All right, so let's talk more about what's going on here. The very first video that the Annie, the sister, Savannah, and what's the brother's name? I can't think of the brother's name. Oh my God. All right, whatever. It was the brother and the two sisters. That was the first video. And I didn't play it. It was very sad. It was the early video. It was, please, mom. And, they're talking to the mother. That was very important. They were talking to the mother. They were trying to get messages to the mother in the first video. And we didn't play it here because I just thought it was too dark and too sad. But now we've got a whole bunch of other videos. On Saturday night, a second video was released by Savannah, her brother, and her sister. And it was much different. It was very strange. And let's watch it here. We'll watch this video. This is the second video that was released on Saturday night. It's the siblings, the Guthrie siblings. But if you remember what the first video was very direct. This one is a little bit more cryptic, a little bit. There are some choices of words here that I want to break down. There's some things that she says here that on Saturday and Sunday led us all to believe the absolute worst. So here we go. This is the strange one, the strange Guthrie family video from Saturday night, different than the first. Tone is different than the first. Now, let me explain what I mean by tone. In the first one, there was desperation. Desperation also comes with hope, because if you're desperate, that means you still have hope. You're just desperate for it, but you still have hope. That's the vibe that I took from the first video. This video here looks like three people who are in mourning. This video here from Saturday night seems like people who have been told that their mother has passed away. That was my takeaway from it. Now let's listen to it and notice the mood. These people, to me, are in mourning, and that is markedly different than the first video. First video was desperate. The first video had some hope. First video was, mom, we're here, we're waiting for you. That was the first. This one, none of that. This one seems like they have been told something. This video, by the way, comes on the heels of a second correspondence, a second letter. This one is not being called a ransom letter. It's just being called a letter, a second correspondence from the kidnappers to the Guthrie family. This is the response to that. It sounds to me like in the second letter, they were told something. Let's listen.
We received your message and we understand.
All right, that right from the beginning is interesting. We received your message and we understand. We understand what? See, now we make all kinds of leaps. Like, oh, well, she's obviously talking about the ransom demands. Well, I don't think that's clear. We received your message and we understand. Like in the message was the guy like, hey, you're still sending this money, but mom died. Do you want her body back? You can have her body back if you want it, but you still got to pay. That could be the message. That could elicit a response like, we've gotten your message and we understand. We understand how everything has changed. Now, look at the sister here. The sister here, it's like the sister knows mom is gone. It's like I don't know. This video really shook me on Saturday night. All right, starts out with, we received your message and we understand.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. That immediately struck me like a thunderbolt. That's celebration of life. That's what you do. That's what a lot of people call a funeral, or what a lot of people call, the memorial service, a celebration of life. That was a very interesting choice of words. Return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. Okay, mom's just been kidnapped. They're not going to return mom. They're not going to have a party with hats and when she comes back. They're not going to celebrate with a recently traumatized 84-year-old woman who's just been. This is a celebration of life. This is a message. At least that's what I believe. I think they know that mom is gone and they just want the body back. And the kidnappers are like, ah. That's what I think is happening here.
This is the only way we will have peace.
The only way we will have peace. We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we'll have peace. Peace, again, just like celebrate. Peace and celebrate. At peace. We have to be at peace. We can't be at peace until we have her body returned to us. This is the message we understand. I'm telling you, this thing Saturday night told us more about what was happening, and I believe still happening.
This is very valuable to us.
Having peace, having mother return to us so that we can celebrate is very valuable to us. These people know their mother is gone. This is mourning.
And we will pay.
And we will pay. Now, a lot of people that pay the ransom, pay whatever. I believe that this is about, I will still pay. I think that what she's saying here is return the body to us. We will still pay. It is the only way that we will have peace. Bring her back to us so we can celebrate. It's the only way we can have peace. And we'll still pay. We'll still pay. We'll still pay the money, even though she's dead. I'm telling you. All right, one more time. Fully without my interruptions.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
All right, there you have it. That was Saturday nights. Again, valuable, peace, celebrate. I just odd choices of words. Some people were like, well, they may have been code words that the FBI suggested that they use, or maybe they were code words that the kidnapper asked them to use. At any rate, that message on Saturday night sort of brought me more into an area where I think Right now, it's about getting the body back. They want to have a celebration of life for their mother. It's the only way that they can have peace, and they will still pay. All right, that was on Saturday. A third message, a solo message, was released yesterday by Savannah. This woman. I feel so bad for her. I mean, my God. All right, here you go. Here's the message yesterday. This was released about 5 o'clock yesterday in the evening. I saw it when it was first released. This now is Savannah solo. This is not Savannah with her brothers and sisters, but this is the message from yesterday. So let's see how this is different from the one on Saturday. Remember, the one on Saturday, I told you, I watched that, and I think that is them saying, Mom is gone. We're still going to pay. We want the body. It's the only way that we can celebrate her life and have peace. This is the latest one from yesterday.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
All right, there she is. Now that was a little bit different. That's why I wanted to play them back to back. That's a little bit different than the vibe and the idea that I came away with after seeing the Saturday one. This one, she specifically says, we believe our mother is still out there. Now that doesn't somehow, discredit the Saturday interpretation that I made, which was that they were trying to say that the mom is gone, but without saying that. So she says yesterday, we believe that mom is still out there. I mean, I guess that could, they're trying to get the body, they're trying to find, at least if you still believe what I believe from the Saturday video, I don't, there's a lot of moving parts here. We're just trying to keep up with it. All right, let's get to the latest here. The latest is the pictures that we just showed. Let's go back there. Hold on. Okay, so a couple of details here about the Savannah Guthrie situation. And I keep saying Savannah Guthrie. Nancy, I guess, is the person that we should be focused on, but Savannah is the reason that this is such a big story. There's lots of people missing, man. There are lots of, this is a media created story. I told you from the beginning, the only reason that this is a story that we're all interested in is because we all, or at least many of us, know who Savannah Guthrie is. She is a high profile individual. But make no mistake, Nancy Guthrie isn't the only person who is missing in America or in the world right now. We did that story. Do you know? Oh God, I almost fell into this bunny hole last night, but I couldn't. Do you know how many people, how many children, how many young girls, how many people are just missing in the world? I mean, the world, it's an astronomical number, but in America, it's like a ridiculous number. I don't want to misquote it right now because I saw it last night. But it's an absurd number. I'm like, oh my God. So this many people just disappeared and people stopped looking for them. And I mean, this is a thing that happens. We're all fixated on this one because it is somebody who, there's a common denominator in Savannah Guthrie. And we all have moms. I think that's another reason. I think the reason that it's getting the hype is because it is concerning a member of the media, and the media is definitely going to talk about when something like this happens to one of their own. But also it's because we all have a mom. We all have a mom. She's a celebrity. That's why we're interested. But then she's a celebrity with a mom. Well, hey, I got a mom. It's just very, especially for a guy. Like for a guy, it's like protect the mom at all cost. Right. That's the rule. If you're a guy, if you're a son with a mom, especially an older mom. So I look at Nancy Guthrie's son, Savannah's brother, and I see him there, and my heart breaks for him because I know that he feels like he is supposed to be doing something now. Caveman takes over. He is supposed to be in charge of this. Where's my mom? That whole thing. So anyway, the demand was for $6 million in crypto. That was the original demand. Now, we found this out on Saturday, I believe. We didn't hear about this last week, but $6 million is the reported amount in crypto. They're going to pay it. They're absolutely going to pay it. Hell, NBC should pay this. I mean, NBC should be, but we don't know who's going to pay it. But anyway, it's $6 million in crypto. It's a good time or a bad time to be dealing in crypto. I don't know. Crypto kind of the bottom fell out last week, but then I saw it rallied. So the $6 million in crypto, $6 million has not been paid. Has not been paid, apparently, and I don't know much about crypto and all that kind of stuff. You can send me crypto, Cash App. Oh, yeah. But why would you? We haven't received a tip in days. I don't even know how to shake my can anymore. This show is done. It's over. Anyway. News on that coming. The crypto hasn't been paid. Apparently, if you know about crypto, you can find it. You know what I mean? Like you can if you have the wallet number. So and Harvey Levin, I guess, is the guy. Harvey Levin from TMZ. He received one of the original notes with the address for the crypto. And TMZ is now, because of that address, they are now able to check this crypto account. And according to Harvey Levin, as recently as last evening, that number has stayed at zero in that crypto account. There are $0. So the money hasn't been paid, which is interesting. We seem to be at a different level of the story today than we were on Friday. Again, going back to the first video that was desperate but still hopeful, talking to mom. Second video seems a completely different energy. Second video seems like mourning is how I, sort of interpreted it. Second video also is, as I say, asking for mom's body. Here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if she's dead. Hate to be so blunt about it, but I'm wondering if she's dead and the kidnappers are gone. Like, I wonder if this is like, take it from the kidnapping perspective. She wasn't supposed to die. Okay. She was supposed to be held for a couple of days. They were supposed to get the money. She was supposed to be, but she died because she's 84 years old. They seem like they roughed her up on getting her out of the house. She died. So now the kidnappers are like, shit, she's dead. And they're just gone, just vanished like that. And that could explain suddenly these videos being made public where they are no longer dealing with the kidnappers. They are no longer talking to the kidnappers. We received your message. We understand. We just want her body back. We're still going to pay. That was Saturday. Nothing on Sunday, nothing on Monday. On Monday, she makes this video. We believe our mother is still out there. I think it's a real possibility that these people, these kidnappers, the kidnapper, whoever, they're just done. Something terrible happened, didn't work out, so they washed their hands of it and they're walking away from it. I think that's a very real possibility, which is going to be absolutely horrifying for us because we're going to have no closure. We're gonna be like, wait, so we never found her body. Is Savannah still hosting the Today Show in 18 months when we're still like, where's the mom's? I mean, it's just all so incredible. Once again, the breaking news in the Nancy/Savannah Guthrie story is that the FBI has released video from a Nest doorbell camera, apparently at Nancy Guthrie's home there in Tucson, Arizona. It shows an individual. Well, I'll show it to you again. We'll show it one more time here. The video is definitely creepo. All right, hold on, Nancy. Here's the video one more time. We'll take one last look at it. Yep. All right. You know what? I just went with the first video. I hope this isn't some AI. I hope there aren't some kooksters online having some fun with the video already. We're going to see him. All right, here we go. All right, here he is. Slurking it. Why is he? Is that head down? So is that what this is? Is this just like he's walking in head down? So can't be seen, I guess. All right. Well, that was not as good a video as I had hoped it would be. Oh, one more time, see if we can find the full video. All right, here we go. Here's the full video. Thank you to some dude named Scott on Twitter. One more time, just released by the FBI. Here it is. This is from the front porch of Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home. How do we make these? There we go. There he is. God, it's so creepy. What is he wearing? Boxing gloves? It looks like he's wearing some kind of, I would think kidnapping work would require maybe isotoners or even rubber gloves so you can get the full range of feeling. All right, there it is. All right, that's the video that was released by the FBI. All right, and again, to the best of my knowledge, the crypto still hasn't been paid. And my knowledge is just, searching Twitter and all of that. The cops there, then this is interesting because you need to make a distinction here. You got to make a distinction between local cops and federal authorities. The FBI are federal authorities. They're working this case in their own way. They're doing their own thing. But there on the ground is Pima County. Pima County is run by a sheriff's department. And the sheriff's department is doing some other things over the weekend that was interesting. For instance, the sheriff's department was at Tommaso and Annie. It's not Tommaso, it's Tommaso Cioni or something. It's like an Italian name. Nancy Guthrie's other daughter and Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law, Annie and Tommaso. The police, the sheriff's department, were over there all Saturday night, treating it like a crime scene. An evidence van was in there. They removed some things from the house. I was watching it on the live stream on YouTube on Saturday night. They were wearing white gloves and, they were definitely a forensics team that was inside the home of Nancy Guthrie's other daughter, Annie, and her husband, Tommaso. So whatever that means, we don't know. Tommaso has been taking a lot of, Tommaso, the son-in-law, has been taking a lot of shit. There's a lot of people that are saying that, they ought to be looking at him. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen nothing but I've seen nothing that makes us think that he's probably the guy, but whatever, he's the son-in-law. So we've all seen enough TV where that makes a good plot point. They also on Saturday was the night where they were all over at Annie and Tommaso's house. On Sunday, they spent all day back at Nancy's house where they were going through the septic tanks and going through the sewers and so we don't know what that's about. The deadline, there was a deadline yesterday. It was 5:00. That was the second and final deadline yesterday at 5:00. That came and went. That was around the time that Savannah released her video saying, "We believe mom is out there." So when you combine everything that we've just talked about here and add in the fact that the FBI released this video, who knows how long they've had this video. Maybe they were sitting on this video waiting to see how it played out between the family and the kidnappers because they were dealing. They seem to be, arranging a situation where payment was going to be made. Here's what I think. I think the kidnappers don't want the money. I think that not. Well, Pugs, what do you mean they don't want the money? Well, no, hear me out on this. Okay. I think that right now, if you're the kidnapper and you've got dead Nancy, you've got the mom, she's passed away because of the trauma you put her through. You weren't intending that, but she's dead and you're still, Savannah Guthrie on Saturday night is like, we will still pay. We understand we will still pay. Right? Why is she saying that? She's saying that because she wants to stay in contact with him. One, obviously wants the body back. But two, once this person caught, needs to stay in some kind of contact with this person because, yes, we want mom's body back. But also, we want you caught and tried for this. So if I'm the kidnapper, I'm like, they say they want the corpse and they're still going to pay. I'm out. I'm because now he's rung up on a kidnapping and a murder charge, or you know what I mean? It's way more serious now for the kidnappers because if she's dead, now it's murder. And they may have just walked away from this whole thing and went, you know what? Nope, no more contact. We don't care that they're still going to pay us. Nope. Nope. Because that's just, we'll find out. I think that we are getting to a point in this story where we're gonna see some real breaking news. We're gonna find something new out. We're gonna have something that maybe makes this whole gray area a little bit more black and white within the next, I would say, 24 to 48 hours. All right, let me do this. Let's take a break. We're going to come back. We got a whole bunch more to talk about. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell and what she's saying to Congress. We're going to talk about the Epstein files and the availability of them made to Congress, unredacted Epstein files. That's going on right now. We got a whole bunch more Super Bowl stuff, Olympic stuff. Let me take a break. I got to go to the bathroom and I got to get a little bit more tea because, yes, I am still nursing a cold, although I've got other issues now. Let me get a quick break in here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with Maddie. It's going to be time for Maddie Says. Maddie Says, is that the bit? I don't know. Maddie, what's on Maddie's mind, I think is what we call it. All right, I'll take a quick break. Before we come back, though, I do want to thank our executive producer of today's show. Every day on this show, we have somebody who is the executive producer. Who is the executive producer? Well, it's the person who tips and supports this show best. That's right. Every day we ask for your tips here. I'll put that down there. Scrolling. This kind of opposition talk, the kind of talk that doesn't do MAGA, that doesn't do Antifa, it's just kind of in the middle, normal people. This kind of talk needs your support because it doesn't get any. So drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. Please help us out. We've been on the air now every day since 2021, and it's coming to an end. Help out this show now. We do have an executive producer. Are you ready? The executive producer for today's show. That's the person who tipped the most on the previous show. We've got nobody. That's right. Fuck it. We ain't gotten a tip on this show since Thursday of last week. So help out if you can. We're going to take a quick break. I'll come right back. We've got a lot more show. Maddie, what's on Maddie's mind is next. Back after this. All right, here we are. We're back. Excuse me. Let me put my fresh tea over here. All right. Let's see here. The chat room is very active today. Say hi to some people in the chat room before we get in. Did I even say hi to the chat room? I didn't. Today was a little bit weird. Peter in the chat room. Peter says, I'm not a criminal, but I would have bounced and gave up the money. We're still talking about the Nancy Guthrie thing. My theory that Nancy passed away, and that was not in the plan for the kidnappers, and the kidnappers are now out. They're gone, and we are where we are, and that explains the difference in tone. We've seen 3 videos now created by Savannah Guthrie, and they have been 3 completely different videos. So that tells me that something has changed, and I don't think it's good. Let's see here. Excuse me. Amy said, I'm going to be very shocked if she's still alive. I hope she is, but I'm not optimistic. Hugh says, them searching tanks, etc., is another reason to believe it's a search for a body. They should have released the video on day 1. Yep, they should have. Barney says, looking a little closer at the pics, I think that's the edge of the mask, not eyebrows. Is that something that Barney was talking about? I don't know. Hugh says they should release video of the abductor so we can see their gait and walk. That was before we played the video. So, Hugh, we've seen that video. We can figure out the gait and the walk. Now we're going to talk about, whatever it is that's on Maddie's mind. We like to talk to Maddie. Maddie is now the executive producer of this show, and she is helping in ways that are just infinitesimal. Is that even a word? I'm not even sure. Let's talk to Maddie. She brings the fire. She's got things she wants to say. Here we go. All right. Let's see if we can get her. I'm sure she's available.
Hello.
All right, there she is. Hi, Maddie. How are you?
Hey, happy Tuesday.
Yeah, happy Tuesday. So this is Maddie. Maddie does a segment here with us whenever she's motivated. We call it What's on Maddie's Mind, brought to you by insert sponsor here. Maddie, what's on your mind today?
Well, I thought it would be fun if we did a little Olympics coverage today.
Oh, Olympics. Okay, so the Olympics are going on. Peter is in the chat room. Peter is currently watching the Olympics. I've got a medal count.
USA.
Yeah, not really. No, we're not doing so great.
We're not doing great. We are not doing great. I was going to say current medal count, we have 2.
No, we got 2 gold. We've got 5. We've got 5
6.
combined. We are tied for
5 combined. Okay.
We are tied for here. I'll give you the official medal count. We'll do Maddie's Olympic. Hold on, let me find the medal count here.
Oh, well, we just got a silver. Okay, so I did pull it up, and I'm still showing a 2 for the United States. Italy is smoking everybody.
Hold on. There we go. All right, here's the medal count. All right, official medal count from the Olympics website. Number 1, you got to guess? What country do you think is dominating the Olympics so far?
Sweden.
Winter Olympics. It would not be Sweden.
No, okay, because they were looking pretty strong in some of these skiing events for sure.
You're in the right neck of the woods, though.
Norway
is dominating the Winter Olympics. They've got 11 combined medals. 6 gold, 1 silver, and 4 bronze. That total is 11.
Woo-hoo.
All right, you know who's then we got I'm sorry, for total medals, for gold, Norway is number 1. They got 6 gold, 11 total. So Norway is number 1 in gold, but also tied for number 1 in combined medals. Do you know what country Norway is tied with at 11 combined medals? What country?
Italy,
the host country. How great is that?
Good for them. Good for them.
I don't think of Italians as being great athletes. You know, I just when I think of like the Olympics history, I don't think of many like Italians who stand out, but this is good for them.
You don't remember back in the 90s when like the person who stands out in Italian Olympic athlete history to me is you remember Tomba, and he was all about that ice skater, and there was this little romance narrative that they were pushing at the Olympics that year. Like they do some pretty decent stuff in the Winter Olympics. I think that we mostly see a soccer with Italians somewhat. You know, I don't see too much Italian athleticism at the Summer Olympics. We dominated Summer Olympics usually.
Auto racing. That's what the Italians do. The Italians do auto racing, and they do it.
Formula
One. Ferrari. Are you kidding me? Monza. Some of the great tracks in Formula One racing are in Italy. They are like the epicenter for Formula One racing. But that's not athleticism. That's just a dude sitting in a car. Anyway, here's the medal count. We got a tie for combined medals right now going on between Norway and Italy. They're at 11. Nice. Second place, we have a two-way tie for second place in combined medals. That is between Germany and Sweden. Okay.
Okay.
And then there is breaking news. We have breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The medal count just updated, and it's good for us, the United States. We are now in second place with 7 combined medals. We have just passed Germany and Sweden in combined medals.
Nice.
But
some of our best events haven't quite come for us yet. Like we usually do we have a really strong ice skating team this year. They're going to take some golds in my predictions during the individuals. They put up one of our first gold medals as the team overall. And they have about they have a 2-week lay down, and then they start with the individuals. So I think we're going to catch some steam at the end.
I don't really give a shit about the Winter Olympics. I got to be honest with you. I used to. Like, I don't give a shit about the Olympics in general. I think that we got hood. First of all, folks, let me just tell you something. I'm an old guy. Let me give you a little bit of history, okay? The Winter Olympics never rated. The Summer Olympics were always the Olympics that anybody cared about, okay? It was the Summer Olympics. They also had a Winter Olympics, but it was kind of like, okay, a little something for, skiers.
Yeah.
But it wasn't nearly as big as the Summer Olympics. And elsewhere in the world, it is not nearly as big. You'd rather be a Summer Olympic champion than, some guy who's got an Olympic winter. Anyway, point is this. Here in America, we had the 1980 U.S. hockey team. And that was a very big moment in American sports history. And we won that game against the Russians, and then we would go on to win the gold.
That was huge.
Against Sweden. It was huge. But what it did was it overinflated in our minds what the Winter Olympics are. So in America, we suddenly made the Winter Olympics the Super Bowl of this, and other countries are like, the Winter Olympics are really not as important as the Summer Olympics. So overall, I don't really give a shit about the Olympics anymore. I'm realizing that. I used to allow myself to get hyped. There was a lot of media hype about the Olympics in the 80s and in the 90s, and I allowed myself to get captured by the hype, but now I'm just not falling for it.
Well, you know what? I could agree with you. I agree with you. Now, in my household, the Olympics have always dominated. My mom loves the Olympics. When the Olympics are on the TV. It doesn't matter what you were doing in life. Everything stopped. The Olympics was on. And that's, the boomer thing and very tied into patriotism. And then, of course, we saw a huge shift, I believe, whenever they started letting professional athletes compete in the team sports. And we saw that with basketball in the Summer Olympics. Remember the Dream Team? And you're right with the hockey team. And just to let you know, the hockey teams are doing really good this year. The women's hockey team is doing excellent. And the NHL is participating in the men's hockey this year. So I think we're going to see some good stuff out of our 2 hockey teams this year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No?
It does need to be noted, though, the greatest moment in American Olympic history, and I am saying this is the greatest moment in American Olympic history, did occur in the Winter Olympics. It was the 1980 Miracle on Ice game. It is bigger than Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon or Jesse Owens or any of that stuff. The one that we remember is the Miracle on Ice. That was all amateur kids. The reason that was such an important team is because those kids were all non-professionals playing against Russians who were professionals. They were playing against 35-year-old men who play professional hockey in Europe. And the Americans, for some reason, we had it still in the amateur category. So it was just a bunch of like 19-year-old kids. That's why it was such a big thing. Now, we have completely changed that by now allowing professional athletes to compete in the Olympics. And I absolutely hate it. And I hate the reason we did it. We did it because we got embarrassed in 88. We were supposed to be the best basketball team on the planet. And in 1988, we got embarrassed because we had a team of college kids going against a Euro league. Basically, that's the origin of the European League. Just look at the NBA. It's filled with Euro guys. So this is when they were first emerging over there in Europe. And they beat a bunch of our college kids, and we as Americans overreacted and had to bring up the dream team.
Yeah,
that's how butthurt we are.
Slam dunking on a bunch of Europeans.
It was absurd, and that was fun. Look, the dream team was fun. I loved it. But now it's always just like, pro basketball. I don't know. I don't like it anymore. I think it should go back to being college kids and amateurs.
Yeah. I remember that because I remember feeling like our professional basketball players were literally acting as though they were on a vacation. They were so unserious about that game. They were not even sweating. Like, they were just like, yeah, we're here. It's all good. It was kind of fun to watch. I mean, but we also have to remember too, that back then, whenever we beat the Russians at anything, it was so embedded with the idea of the Cold War and the fall of communism. And so it was so important to us to just do something better than the Russians.
All right. What are you seeing at the Olympics? Give us an Olympics report. What are you watching? Because I'm barely watching.
I watched a few things over the weekend, but I watched the opening games, which, I always love to watch it. It had a lot of symbolism, a lot of fanfare. It was beautiful. Of course.
You're talking about Friday night's opening ceremonies, the Parade of Nations and all that. Yeah, I watched a little of that.
Yeah, it was really lovely. Of course, the overriding narrative throughout the entire thing was, peace amongst the world, peace amongst the countries. And in a lot of ways, you could very much tell through a lot of these presentations, Charlize Theron got out there in the middle of it, delivered this lovely speech. It was almost bodying the Trump administration, and JD Vance and Usha was there. At some point, they panned over to them in the audience and quickly panned away, and the telecast dimmed down booing from the audience, and that was not from the United States athletes. It was from the Italian audience, and there's been a lot of picketing. There's been a lot of protesting during this. There's been a lot of, ICE out and fuck ICE and fuck Trump. And, it's kind of been an interesting moment. In fact, Donald Trump was asked on Air Force One by some press if he was aware that JD had gotten booed. He seemed very surprised by this. Went on to say that he doesn't normally get booed, and he asked if that was the truth, and he was like, okay, didn't know that, and didn't really kind of defend his guy, but just kind of said, oh well. I guess buck up, buddy. It is what it is. And then JD Vance the next day came under fire because his convoy was blocking one of the arenas because he does have a contingency of ICE agents there with him. Now, people are really freaked out about this because they're thinking that they're over there to enforce immigration. They are not enforcing immigration in a country that they do not have jurisdiction in. That's retarded. That's ridiculous. But it is normal. But of course, because we're all hyper aware of ICE activities in these days, it is normal for a contingency of Homeland Security agents to be there just in order to protect our athletes. So that is not really there in order to do any sort of, interesting military type activities. But he was leaving one of the arenas with his envoy, and blocked traffic for some buses that were coming in with a contingency of United States athletes, one namely being one of our figure skaters, and she almost didn't make her 2:00 time to the ice.
Don't stop. Now you're being as petty as the MAGA people.
No, that's
you
that's
are.
the truth. That's true
it's
reporting.
petty.
And now she did make it in time, but that was
course.
newsworthy. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Hold on. Let me just draw a nice little picture for some of you people still holding on to MAGA. And I don't know who the hell you people are, but of all the things that you have been asked to do, you can't watch football anymore. You weren't allowed to watch the halftime show. You can't have Netflix. You can't shop at Target. All the shit that you now have to be okay with grown-ass men in their 50s having sex with 14-year-old girls because Megyn Kelly tells you there's a difference between 14 and 5. So of all the shit that you MAGA have had to swallow, I'm wondering where actively rooting against American athletes at the Olympics rates. Where does that rate? I never thought I would see that. People actively rooting against American athletes. Unbelievable.
Well, and that came from a statement made by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So one of our downhill skiers was asked at the games by a reporter, how he felt about competing there for the United States and with the implications of politics, because God knows everything has to be about politics, which I don't agree with. I think these athletes have trained their whole lives. They deserve to be there, celebrate their athleticism, and do this without an overtone of politics, yet we cannot avoid this. And so this poor little Hess guy was asked, and he said, and he gave what I thought was an honest response, which was that it was difficult for him and that he's really trying to not think about it like that. But, he's there to do what he's supposed to do. And then, Donald Trump interpreted that as a slam against him and called him a total loser on his Truth Social.
Yeah, the president's an asshole. This guy, this guy. So do we support the First Amendment? Here's one of the replies that I heard. You're allowed to have an opinion, but you can't have an opinion when you're overseas. Have you heard this one? I love the pettiness of moving the goalpost for everything. Like, I have seen MAGA. They're not upset that he spoke his mind and that he has an opinion because they're not that fragile. No, they're upset that he did it in Italy, that he said something about how America could be better in Italy. It's just it's absurd. The whole thing is absurd.
Well, and they also went on to in furtherance of their agenda. I saw much fallout about this, and them saying that that he's there representing our country. Agreed, but that if he didn't like it, then he just shouldn't have gone and represented the United States. Fuck him for having trained his whole life and representing his country.
Again, in these people's world, the only way you can be an American is to be exactly like them. So if he, how dare he join the Olympic team and not be full-blown Kool-Aid drinking right-wing MAGA?
Correct.
How dare? Oh, fuck you people. I am so sick of this nonsense. Go ahead, man.
And also trying to purport that in some way our United States government pays these athletes, which couldn't be further from the truth. It is often discussed that these people do this full time and only, and that their parents have to raise this money for them to go over there and all kinds of things. The United States government, in fact, we're one of the only governments that do not subsidize our athletes to go over there. Like, that's not a thing. And so, it's just funny that.
And how are you going to call a guy sitting there on camera wearing his freshly minted gold medal a loser? He's literally not a loser. He's literally the best. But you're just gonna call him a loser.
From the president who took a Nobel Peace Prize that didn't belong to him to begin with. Right. Yes.
President participation trophy is calling somebody who has dedicated their entire life to be the best at something incredibly stupid.
Yes.
But the best nonetheless. He's calling that guy a loser because he's got his FIFA Peace Prize to flaunt in everyone's face.
His made up Peace Prize and his hand-me-down Nobel. Like, yeah, it's absurd. But it just, again, the hypocrisy there and the undignified stance that our administration loves to take when anything comes against him. And, and then we can move right into the conversation about the Super Bowl and the halftime show with Bad Bunny. Pugs, did you watch? I'm sure you did.
Of course. I'm normal. Yeah. Of course. I sat there on the couch and I didn't, I didn't
change the channel.
No, I didn't change the channel. I didn't patch things. I didn't get a new app and sign up. And, I didn't do any of that. I sat on the fucking couch and I watched the Super Bowl like a normal person.
Right. So any particular thoughts about how it wasn't for you because it was in a different language?
Yeah. You want to hear my thought? Here's my thought. This was my number one takeaway after watching Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl halftime show. Super Bowl halftime background dancers never disappoint. Never.
Right?
It doesn't matter what the actual act is. If you just watch the background dancers, you'll be like, that's some entertainment right there.
Agreed. So I didn't watch the whole game. I tuned in towards the middle to the end of the first quarter. I saw the second quarter. Of course, it was everything I thought the Super Bowl was going to be, was largely a defensive game, not a lot of offense happening. And I did it specifically to watch the Bad Bunny Super Bowl. And my entire take on it was that I thought it was lovely. I thought that the overriding message was intended to be very positive. I didn't have to understand what he was saying. What I did focus in on was the joy in their faces. I loved that Lady Gaga made an appearance. I loved that Ricky Martin made an appearance. There was a few Easter eggs with some other very notable figures throughout. Pedro Pascal was there. Cardi B was there.
Let me address something really quickly here, just about the whole foreign language thing. I thought it was interesting that in all of my years of watching these kinds of events with older folks or, growing up with, boomer parents and all of that, I can tell you that there has never not been a situation where a modern musical act has performed for older people, where older people didn't say, I can't understand a thing he's saying. And they're speaking English. They can't understand the lyrics to rock songs when English-speaking white guys sing them. They certainly can't understand the lyrics to hip-hop songs when they've seen those. But now, suddenly, because it's actually in Spanish, now they're outraged about it.
Same narrative from when Kendrick Lamar played last year. I mean, I heard many
couldn't understand a word he was saying. I didn't know what he was saying. Yeah, right. So, but now it's an even bigger problem. Now it's a deal breaker. You never gave a shit what they were saying before until it was in a language that you don't understand.
Which, and I did some deep diving, and, the year that Shakira and J-Lo performed, Bad Bunny made an appearance on that, and he performed in Spanish. He did a small set with Shakira when she was on stage, and he did a little rap segment, all in Spanish, all of it.
Let me go a little bit deeper here on why the reaction to this is so crazy from the stupid right. And that's what we'll call them, the stupid right, who can't get past the fact that he's not speaking English. Why is it so important to them? Are they making it up? No, I don't believe they're making this anger up at all. I think they are really pissed off that he's not speaking in English. Now, why? I mentioned this last week when I'm talking about us, the working class versus the 1%, the people who get away with molesting children, those people. There is a difference between them and us. And one of the big differences is all we have is who we are. All we have is that we're Americans, the greatest country in the world. That's why we actually are patriots. We actually do love this country. Jeffrey Epstein doesn't love this country. Elon Musk doesn't love this country. None of these people who have houses around the world and can leave this fucking dumpster fire whenever they want don't love this country the way you and me and regular people do. So when something like this, something so petty, where all they got to do is put up with for 20 minutes somebody not speaking English, they can't do it. Because all they have is their English language and their white identity and their American citizenship. That's all they have. So that's why it's so important to them. It's misguided and it's incredibly ignorant, but that does explain the visceral reaction to him not speaking English, even though they could never understand the language or the lyrics to anybody else in previous years.
which is utterly hypocritical. I mean, like, let me draw a line for you from something very, very personal that I experience with the area of the country that I live in. So I live in Louisiana. Most of the viewers, you've mentioned this before, and I live in South Louisiana specifically. And in South Louisiana, we have a very large, very prominent section of our population that are Cajun Americans. And if you know anything about Cajun Americans, they immigrated here from Acadia. And in my current day life, every single day, not on occasion, but all the time, French is prominent and French music is celebrated and prominent. And in fact, just a few mere short months ago, last year, we had a local musician who appeared on The Voice by the name of Dustin Gaspard. And he was a native son of Louisiana, and he performed at The Voice in Cajun French. He was celebrated for that. That audience clapped and applauded on their feet for him. Michael Bublé, every single one of those coaches turned their chairs. Michael Bublé, who is from Canada, associated with him very intimately because he said, I recognize what you're saying. It's not in my same dialect because I speak Canadian French, but I picked up what you're saying. They loved it. He was passed forward to go on into competing, and he was celebrated on a national stage for singing a song in his native French Cajun.
Right,
now,
but that was French Cajun. It's not Puerto Rican. You understand the difference. You're not that. Come on, you get the difference.
Come on, it's hypocritical. I'm going to call it out for what it is. And then only to have these same Americans here that I witnessed on social media and Facebook outraged at the fact that this man sang in Spanish, which is an American territory, which we all know Puerto Rico is, and them saying that this was un-American. And I call it bullshit. I call it bullshit every single day. It is bullshit and it is hypocrisy.
All right. So I watched the whole thing. I didn't understand a word. There was a lot going on. It was dazzling. Didn't particularly like the song. Couldn't find a groove. Never really wasn't catchy. You know,
reggaeton's not your thing.
I didn't find myself afterwards walking to the kitchen humming that song or whatever. So whatever. I mean, it was fine. It's not my thing. It's almost never my thing. Kendrick Lamar last year wasn't my thing. I'm a middle-aged white guy, okay? You want my thing? Put Springsteen out there or Tom Petty. Well, he's gone. But you know what I'm saying? But I am not so fragile that I can't handle not hearing country fucking music for 20 minutes.
Correct. But we also are smart enough to realize that the world has moved past us at this point, right? Like, what we always have to
we're not relevant
is that this shit is not about us,
right.
You and me anymore. I am 54 years old. You are in my same age group. And I realize that they know that I'm going to die soon. They're not marketing this shit to me anymore.
Nothing.
The NFL is making smart moves for the longevity of their company.
Just hold on. Stop here for a second. You just said that you are 54 years old. You are in the last year of any kind of viability whatsoever. The primary demographic that every marketer tries to penetrate is 25-54. That is the age group.
That's right.
If you can get somebody to start buying your product at 25 years old, they're going to buy it for the rest of your life. People our age, Maddie, no beer company in the world is trying to get us to try their beer. They know we drink what we drink. They're trying to get 22-year-olds to try their beer. They're trying to get 23. We are so irrelevant. And thank you for saying that proudly, because we have to embrace the fact that we are no longer the relevant culture moving demographic. We're just not.
And it doesn't hurt my fucking feelings.
No!
Because you're right. I have flexible income. I spend that money where I've already chosen to spend it, period.
Why would it bother me? I mean, it's not like we rely on the radio to hear our music. If I want to hear my music, I go to Spotify and listen to any number of playlists that are perfect for what I want. I don't have to feel left out simply because 25-year-olds are making the rules now. I made the rules when I was 25. We decided that grunge was cool and flannel shirts were all we were going to wear. It's just the cycle of things.
That's right. I can look at a pair of jeans in a store that's all ripped up and distressed and go, ooh, who would spend money on this? And acknowledge that there is someone who will spend $150 for that. It's not for me. I can go make the choices that are for me. And that is what all of this needs to fucking boil down to. This show was not for you necessarily. If you enjoyed it, if you saw some element that you were connected to, I did. I heard you say that you didn't catch on to the beat. I did. I enjoyed it. I was humming his little stuff. I can't repronounce the words, but I have been for the last couple of days. It was beautiful to me. I saw the smiles on these people's faces. They were so happy and so joyous to be a part of that. And at the end of it, he said, God bless America, God damn it. And on the Jumbotron, it said, the only thing that's better than hate is love. And I fucking buy into that message wholeheartedly. And I thought he tried to present a very positive,
it was
America forward message, and it was beautiful.
It was fine. It was fine. And if you're triggered by that, you just need to be a little bit less of a snowflake. If you were bothered by the idea of what Maddie and I just talked about, if you are in our age group and you just can't fucking handle, well, then you are a snowflake. You're a pussy. You're a crybaby, and you're everything that you seem to have been railing against for the last 10 years. You are that. Get over yourself. Maddie, thank you so much. We'll talk later in the week, okay?
Sounds good.
All
Bye,
right,
guys.
there she goes. That's Maddie. Maddie, what's on Maddie's mind? See, we just ripped through the whole Super Bowl stuff. That was good. And some Olympics. All right, I need to take another break because I got to go to the bathroom again because I'm having issues. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to go to the bathroom. When we come back, I will remind you one more time that absolutely nobody, not a goddamn person, tipped this show. I don't know. Maybe they have today. So that would be really nice. So I appreciate that. But if you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be the big tipper on today's show. How do you do that? You drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. Quick break. We've got a lot more stuff. We're going to watch some videos. We're gonna get more into the Kid Rock and Bad Bunny thing. I got some stuff I want to talk about there that I didn't get to do with Maddie. So we'll bring that back again. I want to look at some things going around on Twitter. Okay. Twitter BS. I promised that I was going to start doing this last week where I would show you things that get like 20,000 likes and 10,000 retweets that are absolute fucking bullshit lies. They're not even important lies. They're silly, stupid, petty little lies. So we'll do that as well. Plus a whole bunch more. I'll take a quick break. Let me go to the bathroom. You know, these don't take long. These are shorter than regular radio station commercial breaks. So just give me about 2-3 minutes. All right. Not sure how long that was exactly. I had to do something that I didn't think I was going to do. All right. Welcome back to the Rant. I am Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios here at Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com. Tip the show if you can. That'd be great. Support this kind of talk radio, the kind of talk radio you can't hear anywhere else, because I don't carry water for the Republican Party. How's that? That's the long and the short of it. If you want to, spout conservative values, and if you want to be MAGA and all that, I could get any number of jobs in American radio. But I don't want to do that. I want to just talk like a normal person. So we do that each and every day. We gather at noon. Like, follow, subscribe. Please tell your friends. Join the chat room. We do this every day. We get together and we talk about the world through the lens of normal people. Not the 15% MAGA people on the right who are gone forever with their closet filled with red hats and crazy ironic t-shirts. No, those people are gone. That's 15% on the right. They're gone. Same for the people on the left, the ones who, you go into their garage and you find like bomb making materials and signs that say, fuck Tesla. Those people are gone too. So that's 15 on the right, 15 on the left. We are the 70%, and we gather every day to kind of hash out this thing we call life. So please tell your friends, grow the show, share, like, subscribe, but most of all, tip, support, drop a little something. Treat me like I'm your bartender. You hang out with me every day, drop a little something on your way out the door. It'll be greatly appreciated. All right, let's clean up a little bit there that we just did with Maddie. We covered a bunch of ground, a bunch of sports ground. We talked a little bit about the Olympics and a little bit about the halftime show. I wanted to, let's see, what do we have here? Is there anything? Yeah, I wanted to show this, okay? So this is something that comes to us, and you know this is the case. Maybe you just don't remember, but when you think back, it's like, oh yeah, isn't that the case? So MAGA stooges got all riled up, and you were supposed to hate on Bad Bunny. You're supposed to don't watch it because you can't handle it because we're a bunch of snowflake pearl clutching fucking Karens. That's all they are. That's all they do is they just complain about shit. But the halftime show was a big problem for a lot of them, right? The halftime show was, this is like a special kind of situation. We got to take a stand here for America. The halftime show and whatnot. Check this out. So this is Matt Walsh. This is Matt Walsh, one of the guys on the far right. He's one of these idiots who is so upset about Bad Bunny. We're boycotting Bad Bunny, the halftime show. I'll never watch another halftime show, Bad Bunny. So back in, 2019, Matt Walsh said, I wonder if the NFL will ever hire a good band for the halftime show again. All right, he did not like it in 19. How about in 18? In 2018, Matt Walsh says, can they just go back to having marching bands for halftime? Okay, there's that. Oh, and there's more too. Hold on. We can go all the way back. Let's see. What else? What are the other ones here? Let's go back to 2017. Matt Walsh said, the only people looking forward to this halftime show are the people who refer to the teams by their jersey colors. Okay, that's 2017. So all the way back to 2016. Maybe this isn't a Super Bowl. This just looks to be some commentary on entertainment that Mr. Walsh disagrees with. I can't believe they're not catering to my every need. I mean, that's what this is. This fucking guy is the biggest pearl clutching pussy I've ever seen. And you people elevate these clowns to some... That's an alpha. Matt Walsh is a trad husband alpha. He's a man. He doesn't... All he does is fucking complain, this guy. This crybaby pussy. Lions-Vikings game features the most excoriating and effeminate halftime show the NFL's ever produced. And that's saying something. Oh, hurt again. Hurt again. You just can't fucking get over yourself. And all the way back to 2015, Matt Walsh said about the Super Bowl halftime show, maybe one of these years they'll line up a Super Bowl halftime show actually geared towards the sort of people who watch football. Oh, well, this was 2015. So you wouldn't be talking about yourself here, because wasn't it just shortly after this that all of the Matt Walsh types decided they weren't going to watch football anymore? You were boycotting because of, I don't know, anthem stuff, you fucking crybaby pussies, every single one of you. Here's what Matt Walsh said. Here's what he said about the most recent Super Bowl. Hold on. This is, yeah. He says, I didn't watch the NFL's halftime show, but I've seen the clips here. Just an absolute disgrace and massive middle finger to the fans to have the entire show in Spanish. What about the fans that speak Spanish? There's a lot of people that speak Spanish in this country. So that bothers you, doesn't it? That bothers you because you get all confused because you don't know what they're saying. Football's an American sport. This is our culture. I think we just need to define. I think that's where our disconnect is. I think these people define America or American as something completely different than I do. Matt Walsh is such a pussy. All of these guys, all they do is complain. Now, I know that I have sort of made a little business here, as sad as it is, of complaining about the complainers, but somebody's got to do it, gang, and I'm willing to. What else do we have? Oh, this dude did the Bad Bunny halftime show in English. Let's listen to this for a minute. This went viral yesterday. Actually, I saw this promoted on both MSNBC, or I guess we're not calling it that anymore. I saw this on MS Now and on CNN. So this guy's definitely gone viral. Let's watch him. All right. So this is Bad Bunny's halftime show in English. These are the English words. Let's listen, shall we?
Okay, no llorando. Another beautiful sunset I see in San Juan. Enjoying the things that people have passed are missing out on. Enjoying the nights like these, they don't come often. No, they don't come often. But I just wanna go back to the very last time when I looked in your eyes. Cause I got some things to say and I would say them this time. And all of the photos that I should've took, I would take them this time. And this time, yeah, my chest was so heavy, it hits me different. My heart is pounding, baby, where you been? Hey, I could meet you there with Aurora, Julito, Cristal, Roy, Edgar, Sebas, Darnell, and Big J. You know we'll be playing Bata. Today we'll leave the streets in chaos. And it'd be amazing if you play the Guido.
All right, I think we get the idea there. That's what it sounds like in English. Still ain't my thing. Still ain't my thing. You know, I'm a power pop guy. I like verse, chorus, verse. I like 3.5 minutes and a cloud of dust. That's me. Give me a hook. Give me a good hook. Give me a bridge. Give me a very short guitar solo. I don't need a big guitar solo. That's what I want. And I recognize that I am from a different era, as we talked about with Maddie. This new stuff, the stuff my kid loves. I mean, I try to be culturally speaking, as far as like the stuff that I've exposed my son to, I've taken that very seriously. I don't want my son to be a 30-year-old dummy. You know what I mean? I want my son to be 30 years old and know what Gone with the Wind was and know what Casablanca was. You know, I want my kid to know who Alfred Hitchcock was. Just because other idiots in his demographic may have forgotten about these things, I want him to have a baseline of cultural awareness. So this has turned into a musical exchange between the two of us. And, you know, he is very much into music that came way before him. He loves Led Zeppelin. My 16-year-old kid loves Led Zeppelin. He loves Rush. He loves Metallica. He loves, you know, last night I watched the new, it's on Paramount. If you have the Paramount network, I get it through my Prime. I don't know how, but I don't ask questions. Paramount Network has a new documentary on Ozzy Osbourne. It's the one that they made at the end of his life. I mean, it really takes you through the last 5 years of Ozzy's life. And it's terrific. I mean, it is a really, it takes you backstage and all of the things that had to be done to make that Black Sabbath reunion from like 4 years ago go off. Incredible. And then there was his final concert last summer. Remember, he played on, I think, like July 5th or something, and then he was dead like 20 days later. Anyway, basically documents all that, and it is terrific. It is really good. It is called Ozzy. Anyway, Ozzy is another one that my kid absolutely loves. And it was interesting because I was thinking about this last night. My kid is 16 years old, and who is he aware of? Like, there are things that, like, like I'll just throw out the name of a band and he will have no awareness of them. And it's like shocking to me. Like, I'll say, oh yeah, that's a Journey song. Journey. And he'll be like, who? I'll be like, Journey. And then I'll sing a song and he'll go, oh yeah, I know them. But he doesn't know the band. He knows Ozzy. He knows Ozzy. He knows Black Sabbath. He knows Bowie. He knows Prince. He knows Michael Jackson. He knows Bruce. And really, those are like the ones that I think have carried over. He's 16. These are the people that he's aware of the way I was aware of, say, Elvis Presley or Chuck Berry or Jerry Lee Lewis. Like, we weren't aware, if we're Gen X, we're not aware of every 50s act. There's like people who had hits and were successful that we've just never heard of. That we're like, oh yeah. Like, I can't name an Eddie Cochran song, but I know he was somebody. Anyway, the ones that have survived are people like Ozzy. And the point is this. The music, as we discussed with Maddie, that is booked for the Super Bowl is not targeting the musical tastes of anybody over the age of 25. It's not. Never has. Never will. The anger comes from the fact that the people complaining are no longer 25. We liked it 15 years ago when it was Prince. Oh, yeah, Prince, this is awesome. We liked it when it was Bon Jovi in 1999. Yeah, this is our stuff. It's not our stuff anymore. That's all this is. And your inability to control your fucking emotion shows you to be one of the biggest bitches that the world has ever known. You're just a crybaby. You are being everything that you say you hate about the left. And yeah, I hate that about the left too. They're a bunch of crybabies. They complain about everything. But understand, in this world of social media, it's not about the individual complaining. It's about the response to the complaint. The people offering the complaints themselves, they're not actually believing what they're saying. They just know that you're not as smart as them. And they can bait you into getting all tizzied up about something. This is happening almost entirely on Twitter. And it's been happening a lot lately, and I want to show you some examples of the kind of grand deception that is just relentless on Twitter. Just overt lies. Thank God Twitter has community notes, because all of these complete lies are shot down immediately by community notes, or somebody responding will say, Grok, is this true? And then Grok will return, no, this is totally made up. Completely deflating any of the legitimacy of the post, but it doesn't matter because 3,000 people have forwarded it. And because there's 5,000 people in the comments going, I knew that was true. I knew that. It is rank disinformation. And I don't blame the accounts anymore. The accounts are bots. They know what they're doing. This is a plan. This is a plan to create complete disinformation and to have people believing things that just aren't true. And it is happening more on Twitter than anywhere else. Let me just give you some examples of it. It's not big things. Don't think it's like, oh, we're going to war with China. It's not big things. It's little things. And it's constant. And it's relentless. And they're just lies designed to make the triggered respondent feel something, whether it's good about their own bullshit opinions or justified that somebody else is a monster and they knew it. That's all it is. The people who put these things out don't believe it, but they know that you will, because you're stupid and they're not. And this is all a part of a much bigger plan to keep you so fucking misinformed and so fucking confused that none of us now with AI, none of us know what we're looking at ever. And this is one of the reasons why I'm trying to get away from Twitter. It's hard because it's fun and because I am addicted to it. It is an addiction. Those endorphins that fire off when you get angry because of something that somebody said are very real. It's a very real thing. Let me give you a couple examples of just the pettiness, of just how small the lies are, and yet people just believe it. All right. Let's see. How about this one? What's this one? This is the first one that I wanted to do, right? All right, so here's an example of the results of what I'm talking about. Let me show you a breakdown of the different. Oh, actually, can I show that or can I not show that? All right, it's going to be too small. All right, so let me read this to you. This comes from this is a Gallup research poll, okay? And it takes all of the social networks. We've got Reddit, newspaper news sites, TikTok, broadcast TV, Instagram, local TV, podcasts and YouTube, cable TV, Facebook, and X, Twitter, okay? So it rates all of these, and it does a combined job approval rating for Trump. That's the question. On every single one of them, except Twitter, Trump is severely underwater. On Reddit, Trump is minus 40. Newspaper sites, he's minus 33. TikTok, he's minus 28. Broadcast TV, he's minus 28. Instagram, he's minus 21. Local TV coverage, he's minus 17. Podcasts and YouTube, he's minus 14. Cable TV, he's minus 10. Facebook, he's minus 7. And on Twitter, Trump enjoys a plus 9 approval rating. Twitter is the battleground for the stupid. It is where they are keeping. I've been wondering what is going on with MAGA. How are they keeping these people together? And it is a combination of Truth Social and Twitter. Twitter, of course, being controlled by Elon Musk, who, by the way, I love it. Elon Musk is getting community noted by his own fucking platform with almost every post he makes these days. Elon Musk will say something like stupid, like the white man, it starts out with that. And then there'll be a community note that says, actually, this is not true. And it's just like, come on. Are there people operating on Twitter can you deactivate the community notes if you're tired of seeing them? Because I imagine that there are MAGA people or right-wing delusional people who are hanging out on Twitter because it is feeding them the stuff they want to believe, not the stuff that is actually truth. Like, let me give you some more examples here. I can actually show you some things. Let me give you an example of, all right, here's just the level of petty BS. Okay, here you go. This is just one from today. I found this example today. I want to show this to you. This is an example of something that was posted on Twitter because people who don't care about truth want to feel the endorphin rush of something that's bullshit. Okay, here you go. This is a picture of Barack Obama having lunch with Jeffrey Epstein. And the Twitter poster asks, if you can't read it, crazy how Trump gets shit for being vaguely connected to Epstein when Obama did a whole sit-down dinner special with him 10 years ago. And no one cares. So there it is. There's Obama sitting with Jeffrey Epstein. This has gotten 1.2 million views, 11,000 likes, 1.6 thousand forwards, and over 2,000 comments. Crazy how Trump gets shit for being vaguely connected to Epstein when Obama did a whole sit-down dinner. That's Anthony Bourdain, motherfuckers. That's not Epstein. That's Anthony Bourdain. You should read some of the comments. I heard that Obama and Epstein were best friends. You should read some of the fucking comments. This is not Jeffrey Epstein, but stupid people who want to believe it's Jeffrey Epstein are just going with it because we are post-truth on Twitter. All right, there you go. There's one example. There's an example. Don't have any. I got a couple other ones. All right, how about this one? What is this one? No, this isn't the one I was looking for. Hold on, there's another one. All right, that's okay. This one will be fine. The one that I was looking for was a picture taken of two people from the TPUSA alternative halftime show. It was two girls, and they were like rocking out to Kid Rock. And the poster said, "This is Axl Rose and Duff McKagan's daughters supporting TPUSA and Kid Rock." Thousands of comments from fans of Guns N' Roses who are MAGA. And, they want to believe that the next generation of Guns N' Roses are MAGA with them. Yeah, it wasn't their kids. to the extent that the actual children had to come out and post and say, we don't support this bullshit, but it didn't matter because there were thousands of comments and thousands of retweets, and now your aunt is sending emails about how Guns N' Roses kids support Charlie and TPUSA, and it's just not true. But they want it to be true because it feels good. It feels good that it's true. It's not true. These people are existing in a post-truth world where they're moving the goalpost on pedophilia and what they're willing to accept from 1% billionaires at their own expense. It's just not true. All right, so then we've got this one. This is one that I did find. This is interesting. Let me see. Okay, yeah, so this one came after the halftime show. This was probably posted around the fourth quarter or something. Here's what it got. This guy is particularly bad. This guy, his name is Eric Daughtry, and he's got millions of followers, and he just posts shit like this. Eric Daughtry says, breaking, this is news, this is breaking. I'm Eric Daughtry, and I have done the research, and I can cite the sources. No, you can't. Breaking, reports indicate that X usage got so high during the TPUSA All-American Halftime Show that the platform was down for brief moments. We broke the internet, MAGA. Our TPUSA Halftime Special broke the internet. It says, we run the culture now. Again, Eric Daughtry says that reports indicate that X usage got so high during the TPUSA All-American Halftime Show that the platform was down. We broke the internet. We run the culture now, he claims. Didn't air on X. Community notes tell you right here. Community notes it didn't air on X. That was one of the last minute dick trips that they had. They were supposed to be on X and YouTube, but they couldn't get copyrights for, clearances on Twitter or X. So they didn't air on X. And this guy didn't even air on X, is lying about the numbers it did on X. TPUSA actually pivoted from X streaming to YouTube due to licensing issues. Thank you. That's community notes. But this guy is out here telling you what you want to believe, misinforming you. And look at him. He's wearing a suit jacket in his picture. So you know he's got to be a real one, right? He wears a suit. This fucking guy. How many followers does this guy have? Not almost 1 million followers. 915,000 followers, man. Putting out their bullshit. He just made that up. He just made up that they broke Twitter. He made it up. It wasn't even airing on Twitter. Apparently he didn't have that information yet. Do you think there's any shame involved? Is there a mea culpa? Is he the kind of person that will then send a subsequent tweet that says, hey, I made a mistake here? Of fucking course not. Because he didn't care if it was real. He just wanted you to believe that it's real so that you think your side is winning when you're not. Who's losing is everybody. All right. Let's see here. That's my little rant on Twitter and why I feel it's so important for all of us to move away from Twitter. It is the least reliable of any of the platforms. It is, however, the most active. And it is the one that is most entertaining, especially if you're a junkie like me who needs to get his endorphins off. Let's see. What else do we have here? Kid Rock doing lip syncing. We don't need to do any of that stuff. I want to talk about this. Since we're going into the Trump stuff. Since we just talked about, the MAGA and what they believe. So did you see Trump saber rattling against Canada again over this Windsor-Detroit bridge project? This is a bridge project that is going to connect Canada with America. Canada is paying for the whole thing. Canada is building the whole thing. Canada is going to run the tolls. And this was a deal that was struck back when Obama was president. And he's like, yeah, go for it. Okay, so we're going to improve the infrastructure around Detroit. And we're going to connect, the two countries in a more seamless way. You can already drive there. But this is going to be a really nice thing. And you're going to pay for it. That's fine. And all you ask is for the tolls. That sounds like a fucking good deal. This is like the situation with the Chicago Bears new stadium. We've got this new stadium that we're building, and they don't know if they're going to build it in Northwest Indiana, which is literally across the street from Chicago, or if they're going to move it all the way out into the suburbs of Arlington here in Illinois. Arlington is nowhere near downtown. The new location, which is going to be on the lake in Northwest Indiana, is about 15 minutes from downtown. The place in Arlington, which is in Illinois, and that appears to be the big deal. The one in Arlington is like, I don't know, an hour from downtown, but whatever, it's still in Illinois, and we can't dare let our team move to Indiana, even if it is just across an arbitrary border. It's another state. So Indiana is willing to pay for the whole thing. Indiana, no Illinois taxpayers, no Chicago Bear fans who live in Illinois are going to be taxed like that. This bullshit taxes we already have in Illinois. Indiana wants to come in and build this amazing thing right down the skyway from downtown Chicago, 10 miles closer to where they play now than the other place that they're, but it's in a different state. And so people in Illinois are like, no, we can't have it be in another state. And I'm like, they're fucking paying for it. Let them pay for it. Let them build the most amazing new stadium, and they will, right outside downtown Chicago. No, you want to go be in a fucking field in the middle of Arlington because it's Illinois. Anyway, so Canada's going to pay for this whole bridge. That's a deal. It's been a deal now for like 15 years or whatever. Trump doesn't like that. So Trump's mad at Canada again over this thing. Here, let me read this to you. Trump actually let this spin into a whole thing about how China, remember, China is now friendly with Canada because we fucked that up. Canada was like our little brother. Canada was like, our best little brother. And now we're not talking to our little brother anymore. So now Canada is like cozying up to our enemy. So China is now getting a foothold in Canada. Thanks, Trump. Thanks, MAGA. They're going to have like bases and shit there. And why not? Canada's like, well, we're not just going to be pussies and let you threaten us. The fuck, man? So anyway, Trump is saber rattling at Canada again. And he's claiming that when the Chinese come in, they're going to take away hockey. Like the first thing they're going to do, Canada, is they're going to take hockey away from you. But I think it's more insidious than that. That's just the stupid shit that he says. He's doing something here. And I'm gonna bring it all together for you. Just let's go over this story, okay? President Donald Trump tore into Canada on Monday evening with an eyebrow-raising post in which he wildly claimed that China will terminate all ice hockey being played in Canada. It used to just be these wild religious preachers in Florida who would say these crazy things. But now we got a president of the United States who's just saying crazy shit. Trump's odd post began with him griping about the construction of the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Gordie Howe, eh? Gordie Howe, great hockey player. The Gordie Howe Bridge is the bridge between Windsor, Ontario and Detroit, Michigan, which is expected to open in early 2026. It's almost done. As everyone knows, this is Trump. Here's his post. This is what he said. As everyone knows, that is something someone who's about to lie to you says. Why do they say, as everyone knows? Because you're going to be hearing this for the first time. And he's playing on your insecurities that you admit that you don't know everything about everything. Inside, you're like, I don't know. So what he's doing is he's starting out with everyone knows, which allows you to go, well, I may not know it, but I'm not that smart, but everybody else knows. So he's telling me the truth. So this must be something that's widely believed. It's a manipulation. Does it all the time. Everybody knows. People are saying. He does it all the time. And you either know that these are manipulations that con men use, or you don't. And you're just like, he's just like us. Fucking idiots. As everyone knows, the country of Canada has treated the United States very unfairly. As everyone knows. What? We've never even given Canada a thought until you started talking shit about them. Canada was like our 51st state. They were just one big giant thing. They're exactly like us. As everyone knows, the country of Canada has treated the United States very unfairly. Now, things are turning around for the USA and fast. All caps. All fast. Caps. Things are not turning around, dude. I guess everybody knows it. I guess everybody but me knows this. So I'm just going to, because I'm insecure and I know that I don't know everything. So I'm just going to go with him because he says everybody knows it. Everybody knows. Now things are turning around for the U.S. and fast. But imagine, Trump says, Canada is building a massive bridge between Ontario and Michigan. They own both the Canadian and the United States side. And of course, built it with virtually no U.S. content. President Barack Hussein, he's still doing that. He's still doing that. He doesn't fucking care. He's just a flat out racist. He's just everything about him is fucking white supremacy. Not white supremacy, rich guy supremacy. That's everything about him. And he knows that if you're a white guy who's not rich, you hate fucking black guys because they're the ones that are causing you all your problems. Not Trump, not other rich white guys. Hell, you want to be like the rich white guys. They can do no wrong in your book. One day, they'll invite me to their club. No, they fucking won't. No, they won't. Now things are turning around for the USA and fast, but imagine Canada is building a massive bridge between Ontario and Michigan. They own both the Canada and the United States side and, of course, built it with virtually no U.S. content. President Barack Hussein Obama stupidly gave them a waiver so they could get around the Buy American Act and not use any American products, including our steel. Okay, all right. He's ranting. He says, now the Canadian government expects me as president of the United States to permit them to just take advantage of the United States. Yeah, because see, it was a deal. I know that you, as the world's greatest businessman, do not fucking honor deals, but a deal was made. They paid for it. They built it. They're getting ready to open it. It's going to serve greatly the people of Michigan and the United States as far as trade coming in and out. And again, they paid for the whole fucking thing without us having to go into Michigan state dollar or tax dollars. So you know what? Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Shut up. This is a deal that was made before you came into office. You don't now get to start trouble because a deal in a previous administration isn't the way you would have done it. You don't get to blame Canada, the people who made the deal. You suck, man. I mean, there's just no other way. You suck. So now you're reneging on the deal. That's who we are as Americans. We renege on deals because we don't like them and we can do better. You can't do better, dude. Everything is tanking in this country. You can't do better. You can't. We already know. You're on an egg timer, brother. We're just waiting for that thing to happen where you are gone. Whether it's in your private jet gifted to you by the people of Qatar or being perp walked out the White House in handcuffs. That's what we're fucking waiting for. Shut your mouth about Canada. He goes on to say, what does the United States get? Absolutely nothing. Ontario won't even put U.S. spirits or beverages and other alcoholic products on their shelves. They are absolutely prohibited from doing so. And now, on top of everything else, Prime Minister Carney wants to make a deal with China. This has got him scared shitless because he was bluffing. He thought that they would be pussies because he's used to other people in boardrooms being pussies to Fred Trump's kid. And Canada's not. Canada and the other world leaders, they ain't the kind of, you can push them and they'll play ball because they understand what's at stake when having a good ongoing relationship with the United States. But you've pushed them all too far and now they all fucking hate you and they are calling your bluff and now you're crying? They're dealing with Canada. Why are they dealing with Canada, you fucking buffoon? The tariffs Canada charges us for our dairy products have for many years been unacceptable, putting our farmers at great financial risk. I will not allow this bridge to open until the United States is fully compensated for everything we have given them. And also, importantly, Canada treats the United States with the fairness and respect that we deserve. We will start negotiations immediately with all that we have given them. We should own perhaps at least one half of this. The revenues generated because of the U.S. market will be astronomical. Thank you for your attention. You fucking coward. You pussy. You little crybaby whore. Listen to you. My God, you make me fucking sick. Where are all your alpha bros smacking you across the face, telling you to toughen up? You fucking bitch. This is a bitch. This is our president, a pussy rich kid bitch. And you people act like he's a badass. He's a fucking fool. Thank you. Thank you. Every now and again, we tap into something. All right, let's move on now because not only is he a fucking rich kid fool, he's a pedophile. I am absolutely convinced at this stage that Donald Trump has had sex with underage people, probably children. I honestly believe it at this point. At the beginning, I was just like, well, he was friends, but, you know, he had access to models. But then I started thinking, and then I started seeing more and more stuff. Then I started seeing the way he has had his goons react to some of this stuff. And it is clear to me that he was far more involved with whatever fucking gross shit Jeffrey Epstein and that cabal of pedophiles were getting into than he ever before let us know. And now they've got the unredacted files available for all members of Congress. Over 500 people are going to be traipsing through there. They have access to it. 500 people. They've got 4 computers and millions of files for 500 people. Yes, they're making it very easy. All right, so back to the Canada thing. We'll talk about the unredacted files. But back to the Canada thing, just for a minute. I can't. See, here's the problem. Here's the difference between Canada and America. They're not fucking stupid up there. They're not. Well, I mean, they have the same percentage of stupid people that we have in this country. But you see, in Canada, they've got a thing called socialized medicine. So all the fucking weirdos have been long diagnosed, and we know who they are. They've been taken out of mainstream circulation, unlike the United States, where kids go their entire lives and have no idea they're fucking retarded. Because we don't have, poor kids don't get the kind of help you get up in Canada. So therefore, all of the weird MAGA wingnuts, they're all accounted for up there in Canada. They've been marginalized for years thanks to socialized medicine and the preventative care that is offered through socialized medicine. But here's the bigger deal with this Canada thing. And we've saw it recently with Penn Station in New York. There's the pipeline project that's going on in Utah, the new one that suddenly Trump is all involved in. The ballroom, the White House ballroom, the massive developments all over the Middle East, and now the Gordie Howe Bridge, which is about to open. Donald Trump is trying to get his grubby, greedy little hands in every massive American government contract that is going on. That is what he's doing. Why? Because that's how he knows, or that's the area, that's his wheelhouse, where he knows how to steal fucking money. And he is now the guy in charge of government contracts, and these government contracts are now, all leaning towards the Trump organization or groups that are affiliated with the Trump organization. And he's suddenly complaining about bullshit like the Gordie Howe Bridge. Why? Because he didn't get any skim off that deal. And he's mad about it now. He is looking for ways. The Penn Station project in New York, same thing. The ballroom project here. My God, can you not see what's going on? This guy is becoming a trillionaire off of bullshit because we voted him president. And now he's at the levers of who gets what contracts and where the money goes and how much is it and how much is missing. He is going to steal as much as he can from the United States of American Treasury and then jump on his plane and jet off protected by his new friends, the Saudi Crown Prince, in his little fucking mansion neighborhood there. That is what's going on. You people can't see it. Or you can see it, but you're so stubborn and so ignorant and have so many other problems inside of you that you just can't admit it. Because your friend Bob's going to say, I told you so. I can't admit that I was wrong about Trump because Bob will never let me hear the end of it. Oh, fuck you, loser. You've already been accounted for in the minds of your personal universe. People who know you, they already got you pegged as a fucking moron. You are never coming back. And by the way, admitting all of this stuff isn't to say that the opposition, the left, is any better. We're just not talking about them because they have no fucking stroke whatsoever. They don't control any of the 3 parts of our government. They're gonna, though. And that is part of the reason that I think the MAGA is so freaking out right now, because they are starting to understand that. All right, so he's going to end. Chinese are going to come in. They're going to end ice hockey in Canada, and he thinks that that's going to get the Canadian people on his side. But again, the Canadian people are not idiots. All right, the redacted files, the Jeffrey Epstein files, the Department of Justice made them available to all members of Congress, both Senate and the House of Representatives. They're there in a special location where people can go and they can look at them. And there's only 4 computers, and there are millions of files. And so there you go. So we've got some here. Let me find the redaction story. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Ghislaine, what Ghislaine's got going on, because she appeared via Zoom. She did a Zoom call yesterday with Congress. A quote from unredacted material. Is this from Raskin? Yeah, okay. So this is Jamie Raskin. He's one of the Democrats there. He got to see it. Raskin says, a quote from one of Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers contradicts Donald Trump's claim that the disgraced financier, Jeffrey Epstein, wasn't a member of the president's Mar-a-Lago club. Raskin says this was redacted in the recently released trove of files. All right, so why is this important? Everybody who's seeing these files is saying there's too many of them. I mean, we only get a short amount of time to just look through, and so we're not really going to be able to go through all of them. Again, there's only 4 computer terminals, and there's over 500 people that are trying to see these millions of files. You do the math. What Raskin said was, one of the first things that I saw that was unredacted, this was redacted. When it was released 2 Fridays ago, this was blacked out. What was it that was blacked out? It was a conversation between Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys and Donald Trump's attorneys about the subject of whether or not Jeffrey Epstein was banned from Mar-a-Lago. Apparently he wasn't. Trump has been saying that he was banned. I banned him from Mar-a-Lago. I banned him from Mar-a-Lago. That's what Trump has been saying. Apparently, according to this conversation between Trump lawyers and Epstein lawyers, he wasn't banned. The Department of Justice blacked that out. The Department of Justice did not want us to see that what Trump has been saying is a lie and that it's right here in a conversation between the lawyers. I mean, that's just one example. I mean, this is why we, sadly, as American citizens, must lean so heavily on our cousins across the sea. Because Europe is not going to play this game. Europe is not going to try and protect a whole bunch of people who are friends with Donald Trump. Europe is going to give us the names. It says here, Raskin elaborated. He says, I saw one document, which was an email that was sent by Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell, which was the forward of an email. All right, let's break this down. So Raskin saw a document. He said that this document was in fact an email, and that the email was sent by Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, so he saw that. He saw an email, a private email between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, which was the forward of an email that he had received from some of his lawyers giving an account of a conversation. Okay, all right. So Raskin saw an email that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine. The email that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine was a forward of an email Jeffrey's attorneys sent to him concerning the conversation between Trump and Trump's attorneys. Okay, Trump's attorneys and Jeffrey's attorneys. Epstein's lawyers synopsized and quoted Trump as saying that Jeffrey Epstein was not an active member of his club at Mar-a-Lago, but he was a frequent guest and he had never been asked to leave, and that was redacted for some intermediate inscrutable reason, Raskin said. All right, so in the email, it was made clear that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a member of the club, but he wasn't a member because he didn't pay dues, so he wasn't an official member, but he was a frequent guest there. He hung out there all the time. Yes, because his best friend owned the club. When your best friend owns the club, you don't have to pay the dues and be on the rolls the way people who you're trying to hoodwink into joining your little society club. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were good friends. Do you think that if I owned a club, do you think if I owned some fancy club that Emil or Ed or Aaron, these people, you think that they would pay to be a member of my club, or would they just be my boys so they wouldn't be an official member? That's what's going on here. Jeffrey Epstein had full access to that place. He was a frequent guest, but no, he was never actually a member because Trump never made his best friend pay a fucking monthly fee. That's why. So these are the kinds of things that we're seeing here now in the unredacted, and, you know, a few people are getting to see them. 500 plus are allowed, according to this. Raskin noted the discrepancy, saying, I know it seems to be at odds with some of the things that the president has been saying recently about how he had kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club or had asked him to leave. And this was at least one report that appears to contradict it, Raskin says. All right, so that's Raskin. So he came out and he was like, man, there's a lot of shit here. By the way, it should also be noted that Thomas Massie, who is quite the hero, if you believe that uncovering these people is one of the most important things in the history of the United States, and I do, I believe that getting publicly the names of these men who have operated in our society in the shadows, and yet at the same time very openly, and have done these kinds of things simply because they believed that the rules of this society that they and their kind created does not apply to them. It is incredibly important to me that we get these people's names out there. If we don't, then everything that Jefferson, everything that Adams, everything that those people stood for is bullshit, because we do have a monarchy in this country. We do have an untouchable class, and Thomas Massie has been the one guy who very easily could have gone along. I mean, he's a hillbilly senator, Thomas Massie. He could have just been America, America, America. He could have just been that fucking idiot. But he's not. He hitched himself to one issue: finding out who these rich pedophiles are who are preying on our children and exposing them. And if so, and if they happen to be celebrities or people of high profile and standing, so be it. The reckoning must occur. And this is what Thomas Massie has been dialed into now for a couple of years. He came out after seeing what he was allowed to see, and he said he had questions for the Department of Justice about things that he saw that were redacted, that he doesn't understand why they were redacted. Thomas Massie is saying that there are names of famous men who are neither victims. Wait, how did he say it? There are names of famous men. Basically, there are names of famous men who were redacted, who should not have been redacted, who the only reason they were redacted was to save them the embarrassment of being named publicly. That's what Massie was saying. And Massie is now demanding that those names all be redacted, all be opened up, to which someone at the Justice Department told Thomas Massie yesterday, and he reported this on CNN when he was a guest. He said that they are beginning to make the changes, and we will see if they unredact all the names that need to be unredacted, especially the ones who will just be humiliated by, there was that torture email. The dude who wrote back to Jeffrey Epstein in an email, Jeffrey Epstein and this dude, the name was redacted, but the dude said something to the effect of, that torture video was awesome. And the person who sent that to Jeffrey Epstein, that torture video was awesome, that person's name was redacted. And Thomas Massie said, why was that person's name redacted? This person is fucking watching torture videos. Well, that guy, it turns out, we think is, that's the Saudi Arabian ambassador to England. So that name was made public yesterday, and Thomas Massie said something like that. Les Wexner. Now, this is a guy who's always been tangentially attached to Trump and Epstein. He is the guy who founded Victoria's Secrets. He's apparently a big old perv. His name, until this new batch of unredacted stuff that only members of Congress are able to see, his name had been fully redacted in all the other things. And they're asking, why is his name redacted? Well, because it's a friend of Trump's and it would be embarrassing. No, Embarrassing. Fuck you. Embarrassing. You're worried about being embarrassed? You should be horrified that the world knows you're a pedophile, not embarrassed that this might affect your ability to get good dinner reservations. What the fuck? All right, so Massey said yesterday, and man, oh man, you want to talk about fingers crossed? Massey said, he was asked directly, I think it was Aaron Burnett who asked him directly, you know the names, you've seen the names. Why don't you just name the names? And Thomas Massey said, well, I will do that if that's what the victims want me to do. And it will be done on the floor of Congress. But I'm going to give the Department of Justice time to fix what I'm telling them they did incorrectly. So if they fix it and the names come out, we can see the names, then that'll be fine. But if not, Thomas Massey has pledged that if the victims give him the names, because remember, these are all names that were already testified to in court and through investigations and witness testimony and all that. So there are people who know these names because these are the people who told the FBI these names. These are the people who sat in court and testified that these names did these things. People know these names. These names are known by victims. And Thomas Massey said yesterday that he's at the point now where he's just going to go to the victims. He's going to say, tell me the names. I'll go to the floor of Congress where I cannot get in any trouble. If he goes and stands on the street and holds a press conference and gives all of these names, he is then liable to be sued. But if he does it as a member of Congress from the floor of Congress in his duties as a representative, he is indemnified. So tell me that won't be the most watched thing ever if Thomas Massey says, well, the victims gave me a list of names and they say that I should read them on the floor. So let's go. That's what I'm waiting for. So that's Massey. He's a Republican. He's a conservative Republican. He votes with Trump on 90% of everything that he does. But on this one, he's been fighting the good fight for us normal people. How about Lorena Boebert, Bobo, as I call her, second in the hot jeans competition to Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem looks amazing in a pair of jeans, but right behind her is Boebert. She's MAGA ride or die, right, Boebert? So she got to see some of the files, the unredacted files, and this is what Boebert had to say as she was coming down the steps there. I mean, we heard from Raskin. Raskin is upset. We heard from Thomas Massey. We know that Thomas Massey is upset. What about Boebert? Is Boebert getting ready to break from MAGA? It sure fucking seems like it. Here's Boebert after seeing what was redacted.
Congresswoman,
Justice.
are you among the members who got to see the unredacted files today?
Yes, I saw some of them, not all of them, obviously. I'll be going back tomorrow to see more.
Any reaction on what you've seen so far?
I think that there's folks who are definitely implicated and co-conspirators. And, I don't think everyone there that was talking about underage girls being trafficked are victims.
Got it. And do you support any clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell? She was saying that she
I do not.
Okay.
I think Ghislaine Maxwell should get more time, and she should definitely be in a harsher prison than what she's in. Absolutely disgusting.
Got it. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you. My God. Look at me agreeing with Bobo. Look at me. That woman's an idiot. She looks great in jeans. She's an idiot. But she is obviously not as ride or die as we thought, because that is straight up a criticism of her Lord and leader. That is straight up a criticism of this Department of Justice and how they have been covering this up. She isn't making excuses for them. She isn't making excuses for the methodology or how this was clumsily rolled out. No, she's pissed. She's pissed. Raskin is pissed. Everybody is pissed. This cannot continue. Something's going to change. Something's got to pop. Let's see. What else did we want to say? Ghislaine Maxwell. So she was asked there at the end of that, do you support clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell? Because Ghislaine Maxwell got in front of Congress yesterday. She was called to testify. She testified via Zoom from her media room at her Club Fed, where she's staying, because that's where we put global sex traffickers now. She's got a nice, beautiful view of the tennis courts, although she does complain because sometimes the girls play a little early and it wakes her up. She's not waking up these days till around 10:45. The girls typically start playing tennis around 10 in the morning, and that's just, been very uncomfortable for Ghislaine. So she wants clemency. Ghislaine Maxwell got in front of Congress yesterday, and when asked direct questions regarding, the files and what she knows, she pleaded the Fifth Amendment, the right not to incriminate herself, which is basically a little device created by our founding fathers that would allow people to not have to lie, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know that they're probably involved. At least that's how we all process someone when they take the Fifth. Hell, we know that the President of the United States thinks that. Remember, President of the United States, only criminals take the Fifth. That guy did. All right. So after her, I take the Fifth. Actually, do we have some of this? Do we have yeah, we got some video here. Let's look at her because it's always fun. I don't know that we know enough about Ghislaine. Do we know what her voice sounds like? Does she have a sexy voice? That's another question. What's going on with her? Like, how old is she? Like, I can't tell if she's attractive or not. Look, I know I'm a guy. I'm a horny guy. I am able to separate things. I know that there was nothing at all attractive about Ghislaine Maxwell. I know that. She's a monster and all that stuff. But, as a guy, you still look and you go, like Megyn Kelly. Like, I know Megyn Kelly is a monster, but I still look at her and go, ugh. Same with Carolyn Levitt. I look at Carolyn Levitt. I know that she's a monster. Somebody dressed her up in a Nazi uniform on Twitter. They put a picture of Carolyn Levitt and she was wearing a tight Nazi uniform. And I commented, still hot. And they're like, what? She's a monster. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm a guy. I'm a heterosexual guy and she's still hot. Somehow the Nazi uniform made her even sexier. It was all tight. Those Nazi uniforms, they were good-looking uniforms. All right, so let's check out Ghislaine. This is her. She got in front of Congress yesterday. She took the Fifth Amendment. Let's listen to her, shall we? There are pictures that we've seen of Ghislaine Maxwell with Jeffrey Epstein back in the day, and she looks all right. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right.
Were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Now, I know a lot of you MAGA types out there, you're probably thinking, you're like, wait a second, she can't take the Fifth. She's not an American citizen. Remember that's people are in this country who aren't, they don't get the, remember that's what you think, because at least that's what you say when you see ICE beating the fuck out of people. Well, they're not American citizens. They're not due their rights. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. That's the great thing about this country. You come to this country, you find yourself embroiled in our justice system, and guess what? We don't start making up the rules as we go along. We have this template that we apply to everybody that goes through our justice system. So yes, this foreign lady with this proper British accent is taking the Fifth.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Ms. Maxwell, did you at any time play any role in
We're going to do this now. We're going to do this now where they're going to ask the questions and
Jeffrey Epstein's activities involving the recruitment, grooming, or trafficking of young women or girls?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the...
All right, so you get it. You get it. That's what she looks like. She's a proper British lady. So after that was all over, her attorneys made a statement. And in the statement, the attorneys asked President Trump for clemency. Pardon. They want a pardon. They want her to let go. She was in like this really rough prison the kind of prison where we would send global sex traffickers. She was in that prison, and then the Epstein thing bumped up, and then Trump got really scared because he knows he's super involved, and that's when they started dealing with Ghislaine. Remember, they were like, Ghislaine should testify, and then the Justice Department under Trump was like, well, before she testifies, we need to talk to her. And everybody was like, wait a second, what do you mean you need to talk to her? You've already convicted her. You didn't interview her before you convicted her. You don't know the story. You just convicted her. You need to talk to her again. Whatever. We let it slide because we let things slide. Things don't make sense. We just go, oh, whatever. There are no rules. So they interviewed her again. And everybody was like, oh, isn't that interesting? I wonder if they were going to get anything good. And what did Todd Blanche, exit the interview with Ghislaine Maxwell with? Well, he exited with a bunch of stuff that she wrote about how Trump's the most awesome guy in the world. Did nothing wrong. Totally awesome. Okay, that's not really what this whole thing was about. There are more people involved in this story than just Trump, but it's good that you use this moment to just simply get that information out of her, to clear your boss. Now, what happened next? After she did that, after she made it public through Todd Blanche that Trump did absolutely nothing wrong, never got a massage, I believe is one of the things that she said. Immediately following that, she was no longer in the big scary prison where we put people who are global sex traffickers. No. She ended up down there in Bryan, Texas, in a woman's minimum security place. And it had absolutely nothing to do with what she told Todd Blanche of the Justice Department. No, just a coincidence. That's all. So now Congress, because they got it all up, they're like, well, now we want to talk to her anyway. And so she's taking the fifth. So I'm not going to say anything, Congress. You want to talk to me? I'm not going to say anything. So immediately following her taking the fifth, her attorney makes it known to the President of the United States that she's looking for clemency, Mr. President. She's looking for a pardon. Let her go. Just let her go. Like, oh, come on. What if she didn't do nothing? We can't go after any of the other people in the files. Why are we holding her? Let's just let her go. The attorney is looking for clemency. And in return, if she is granted clemency, guys, this wasn't even in a back room. This was publicly put out there for everybody to hear. In exchange for clemency, the attorney for Maxwell said, she will go in front of Congress and tell them that Trump had absolutely nothing to do with this in exchange for clemency. What? What is the truth? What is the truth? That is what, look at how fucked up we are. They said that publicly. The attorney was like, yeah. If Trump wants to give her clemency, she's going to tell Congress that he had nothing to do with it. But only if they give her clemency. Guys, what are you looking at here? Are you unable to process what's happening? Because you should be a lot more angry about that. That is an obvious, out in the open manipulation of truth. Now, we know that you want her to get up there and say that Trump had nothing to do with it. That's really all you care about. You don't give a fuck about the victims or getting these pedophiles. Hell, these pedophiles are your friends. You don't really care about any of that. You just want it clear, and you want everybody to believe that Trump himself had nothing to do with that. And she's going to get up there and she's going to tell that. She's going to tell the truth. Trump had nothing to do with this. Stop it. But only if she gets let out of prison. Jesus fucking Christ, man. That's where we are. She's going to get a pardon. She's going to get a pardon. You people hear me say that and you think, oh, Pugs, that's a bridge too far. How many bridges too far do we have to cross before you people realize that anything he wants to do, he's going to do? He's got you people. He will pardon her when they come up with a narrative that they can spoon feed their fucking moron base. That's what they're working on right now. What is the narrative that we can feed to the base so that when we pardon her and she says Trump did nothing wrong, they'll accept it? This is insane. This is absolutely insane. All right, let's go to the chat room. Let's see what the people in the chat room are talking about. Let's see here. Oh, we got these new people. All right. Barney says these are now grown women. They aren't on hiding. They are on a Super Bowl commercial. And I don't get what your point is there. Yeah, the victims. They're looking for these guys to be outed. What's your point, Barney? And why are you geared to be fucking angry at the victims? This post is very critical of the why? Why do you see these and you're like, oh, fuck them? Fucking 13-year-olds getting railed by 60-year-old men. Fuck them. This is a weird vibe here, Barney. These are now grown women. They aren't hiding. They're on a Super Bowl commercial. Like, fuck them. Like, I don't get that vibe, dude. He then follows it up with, they should give us the names. What the hell are they talking about? Yeah, they should give us the names. But I think they're being advised by attorneys who up until this point, and I think we're at a point that's different now, up until this point, have been advising them on how these things are properly done through the legal system. Because see, even though Trump and like all of these people aren't adhering to any of the rules of civilized, business or whatever, they're just fucking, remember Chainsaw? They just don't give a fuck. They're doing surgery with a fucking sledgehammer, not with a scalpel. That's who these fuckers are. Well, everybody else, like especially the attorneys who represent the victims and stuff, they still live in the world from a couple of years ago where people don't just do these crazy fucking things. So that's why the names haven't just been released. They've been doing it properly. They've been going through courts and they've been trying to get there to be some kind of, well, what we have now, some kind of action through the federal government to acknowledge this. But yeah, dude, Barney, they have the names. They will absolutely go. Please, you're right. Let's get the names out there. It's time now. Ladies, tell them to Thomas Massey and let it. See, here's the problem too. They can't just say the names because they don't enjoy the indemnification that congressmen do. So they got to give the names to Massey and he's got to do the names on the floor. That way, nobody can sue them for slander or whatever. I mean, you got to protect these girls too. All right. I don't even think Trump cares about his so-called friends in the files. He only cares so much as those people can lead back to him. Yeah, I think that's probably true too. I don't think he gives a fuck about his friends. He would screw them all. He don't have any friends. These people don't have friends. Amy then says the women can't give the names without violating the terms of settlements. That's right. Okay, so there you go, Barney. I knew there was some like proper thing going on. Trump doesn't do anything proper. That's why we're so confused, because we see him just doing surgery with a sledgehammer and we think, well, why can't everybody do that? Because surgery with a sledgehammer doesn't work. That's why. Okay. Let's see. Oh my God. Hold on. I got a problem now with the chat room. Chat room's getting wiggy, getting weird. Hide that now. All right, there we go. All right, let's move on. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see. Let's keep going. More stuff to talk about today. Ghislaine, she took the fifth. We did that. Bobo responds. We did the Bad Bunny stuff. China says, Trump says China will end hockey. We don't believe that. We did the Olympics medal count. We did Twitter BS. I don't want to do that story. Bovino got booted by a bunch of bouncers on the Las Vegas Strip. Okay, we'll do this story. Why not? This is a fun one. So, Bovino, what was his first name? We forget his name. He's just going to be Bovino from now on, that guy, Bovino. Gregory Bovino, that's what it was. Remember, he was in charge of the Minnesota thing. He shit the bed. He did everything his president wanted. He did it perfectly. And then when people went, that's not good, the president completely turned on him because loyalty. Remember, loyalty is the most important thing with this president. So Bovino's been cast aside. His life is over. He'll never have a nice day again. So he's, a bit embarrassed. So what does he do? A boys' weekend in Vegas. Imagine the alpha assholes that this guy went to Vegas with. Bovino and a couple of his buddies decided to go to Vegas. They went into a bar, and apparently the entire group was walked by the wait staff. Border Patrol boss Gregory Bovino tossed from Las Vegas bar. He'll also, someone I know this is a joke. This isn't something I wrote, but it is very true. This dude better be as incognito as possible every time he goes through a drive-thru, because people are going to be spitting. They're going to be dragging their balls across his hamburgers. They're going to fuck with this guy. I hope he doesn't get food delivered from Grubhub. I hope Bavino isn't on some Grubhub guy, because they're going to fuck with his food. Just telling you. Former U.S. Border Patrol Commander at Large Gregory Bavino was asked to leave a Las Vegas bar out of safety concerns for the venue's customers. That's how they do it. Manager walks up and says, you got to leave. Why? Because if you don't leave, I think that a lot of these people who are drinking might beat the fuck out of you. And that's a safety concern for my bar. So you got to go. Because days after being removed from his post in Minneapolis, Bavino headed to Sin City, where he was spotted drinking wine. He's a wine drinking dude. Pussy. He was spotted drinking wine where he was, at a multi-level. Oh, Bottled Blonde. He was at the Bottled Blonde. Okay, there you go. For those of us who know Vegas, he's drinking at the Bottled Blonde. A representative from the establishment told that the 55-year-old officer was no longer welcome there and needed to leave. Upon becoming aware of the individual's presence, the patron, Bovino is the patron. Upon becoming aware of the individual's presence, the patron was asked to leave the premises and was escorted out by staff in accordance with venue policy to maintain a safe and orderly environment. Bottled Blonde did not provide further details other than describing itself as a private business that does not engage in political activity or affiliations and reserves the right to refuse service to any patron at its own discretion. That's the great thing about running a public business. I reserve the right to say fuck you. And that's what's happening with Gregory Bavino. Couldn't be happier. The choices we make, right? Joyce, what? He was just doing a job. No, he was given a job, a task that is objectionable to anybody who truly loves this country. And he did it not only willingly, but arrogantly and proudly. So guess what happens after you make a choice like that? The rest of your life sucks. You are a bad guy for the rest of your life. No one will ever think you're good. I don't imagine that many people thought Gregory Bavino was good before. He just looks like the kind of guy that's got all kinds of people in his life that are like, that guy's an asshole. But whatever. All right, so you got bounced from bar. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, you know what? Okay, so the Super Bowl. Did you guys, in years past, we would all talk about the Super Bowl commercials. Like, oh, and the commercials great. There was nothing really that I took. You know what I did? The best Super Bowl commercials weren't commercials for products, but they were advertisements for movies and for new things that are coming. I love this about the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl will give you an ad for a movie that isn't going to be released for like a year and a half, but they just get you excited about it. That wasn't so much the case with the two. I'm going to play two. We're going to talk about two things that were debuted there at the Super Bowl. The two that really caught my eye was first from David Fincher. Do you guys like David Fincher? I love David Fincher. David Fincher is one of the greats filmmakers of his generation. David Fincher, Seven, Fight Club, all kinds of great stuff. Anyway, David Fincher is really good friends with Quentin Tarantino. They're like buddies. And, Tarantino always says that, David is like the closest thing to, what I consider myself to be. Anyway, point is this. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino films. And that film has a character that is just screaming to have its own movie, and that is the Brad Pitt character of Cliff Booth. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the story of Hollywood film star Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and his longtime stunt double / buddy, Cliff Booth, played by Brad Pitt. Well, Quentin Tarantino wants Cliff to have his own series. So he didn't want to do it himself, because Quentin Tarantino supposedly has one more movie in him and he wants it to be really special. So David Fincher came to him and said, look, if you're not going to develop Cliff Booth, can I develop Cliff Booth into something? And Quentin Tarantino went to Brad Pitt and said, David Fincher wants to develop Cliff Booth. And of course, Brad Pitt, who has worked with David Fincher many times, was like, I am all in. So let's check it out. This is, again, a spin-off movie to Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is the Cliff Booth movie, which, by the way, was interesting because when they debuted it for us on the Super Bowl, it didn't say Cliff Booth movie. It didn't say anything. It just showed us these scenes with Brad Pitt. And if you are a fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you immediately knew it wasn't just Brad Pitt, but it was Cliff Booth. I guess that was the play. They were going to show this. They weren't going to tell you what it's called. They weren't going to give you any information other than Netflix at the end. It says Netflix at the end. And they were banking on somebody in the room that you're watching the Super Bowl with to go, oh, that's a spinoff of, that's, I think, what they were going for. Anyway, it looks amazing. Here it is. Let's watch this. This is, I think it's called The Ballad of Cliff Booth or The Life and Times of Cliff Booth, written by Quentin Tarantino and David Fincher, directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt. Same character, the character of Cliff Booth, 10 years after. This is 10 years removed from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Here you go.
Something like that.
You say that like there's more to it.
I don't possess many talents, but I know better than getting away with a good story. Think you're real funny, huh? I'm a little funny.
Look at that. Look at there. I was right. It didn't say, it never said this is the Cliff Booth movie. It was just a bunch of scenes of him being Cliff Booth. God, what a great character that is. All right, so that's coming. I don't know when. I think it said there at the end, but it's going to be on Netflix. And again, it is the much anticipated Quentin Tarantino, David Fincher, Brad Pitt collaboration, an extension of the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood universe. This is the character of Cliff Booth 10 years after the events of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So probably around 1979, 1980, somewhere in there. The other one that I saw, the other thing that I saw that I wanted to watch here was the new Steven Spielberg movie. And I had no idea that there was even a new Steven Spielberg movie. If I'm being honest, Steven Spielberg was incredibly important to me as a filmmaker in the 1980s. Then in the 1990s, he started doing things that I didn't want to see, like Schindler's List and, all of these things, just bummers. So I kind of fell off Steven Spielberg, but it looks like Steven Spielberg is back. It looks like he's back with one of his quintessentially Spielbergian epics. This is a movie called Disclosure Day. Now, you know that I'm one of these people who believes that I'm alien. I think that I've been abducted by aliens. I believe I've been tagged by aliens. I believe that this is a thing that has gone on my entire life where I get visited. And my son hates when I talk about it. He really does. Because I've been talking about it to him real casually my whole life. Like, well, it's because I'm an alien. And then a couple of years ago, he goes, Dad, you really need to stop saying that because it kind of freaks me out. And I'm like, all right. So I don't talk about it anymore around him. But I am. I feel like I am part alien. I feel like there are many of us here. I don't think we've been activated, and I don't think that we know that there are other ones of us. But I think all of us have this feeling that we're not truly human beings. We're just not the same. We just act differently. We just have different reactions. Disclosure Day. It's the new film by Steven Spielberg. It deals with that very subject. What happens when the aliens among us begin to emerge and we realize they've been here the whole time? Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. By the way, it also stars one of my absolute favorite actresses, Emily. What's her name? The chick that's married to John Krasinski. The guy, Jim from The Office. What's that? Emily? It's not Emily Watson. Whatever it is. I love this chick. She's such a great actress. Anyway, here you go. Steven Spielberg's new film coming out this summer. Disclosure Day. Check this creepy shit out.
If you found out we weren't alone,
If someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you?
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today is... Today's...
People have a right to know the truth. It belongs to 7 billion people.
What is it?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I'm gonna show you.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world. All at once.
People keep wondering. Encountering the unknown.
They're coming! They're coming!
They are starved for the truth.
Do you think there could be others?
Why would he make such a vast universe? Yet save it only for us?
I'm sorry. It's a question I've asked my entire life. Why would he make such a vast universe and just save it all for us? I don't think that's the case at all. All right, Disclosure Day, Steven Spielberg's new film that's going to come out this summer. Guys, no show tomorrow. I told you it's a continuation of what I had yesterday. So I got to do that tomorrow. So no show tomorrow. Thursday and Friday, normal shows. Hopefully we will have an executive producer when we return. If you want to support this kind of talk radio, we do it every day at noon, every day since 2021. That's right. We are relentless and we will not give up. Drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. It helps. And yeah, we're still doing a pledge week. So help out if you can. Again, no show tomorrow. I'm so sorry about that. You know, I'd be here if I could, but I can't, so I won't. So we'll have to get over that together. Back on Thursday. And, that's it. I appreciate you guys. And I hope you have yourselves a great, 48 hours, about 44 hours, 46 hours. See you back here. Okay. Bye.